Hideous Energy, episode 150.
Absolutely nothing special.
Nothing special planned. It is something special in that it's our 150th episode.
It's special that we're here.
That's not special.
You're right. Human existence, bullshit.
I am your co-host, David.
I'm the other co-host, Austin.
And we're going to...
It's hard telling what you were about to say. We're going to have a show about comics.
Yeah.
David's sort of sick.
That's not what I was going to... yeah, that's you. I thought you saved the day.
David is sort of sick in a couple of ways.
I was going to say, no.
Mentally, yes. 100% definitely.
Yeah.
Physically, still up in the air.
I don't want to start the show off this early with masturbation jokes, so let's just keep moving.
It's the first time that you've made that decision ever, maybe.
I make that decision weekly.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I guess publicly then. I assume your unseen battles are almost always about whether or not you should discuss
it's just
masturbation.
two dicks sword fighting in my head is what it looks like.
Just the grossest bar graph ever. We're Hideous Energy. We're a weekly podcast.
We're a weekly comic book podcast that talks about other stuff.
That's exactly right. That's one of our new catchphrases. We haven't had one in a while.
I don't know that it's a catchphrase as much as it is
like a mission statement.
A truth.
Yeah. We guarantee to you that we are going to talk about comics every week and other things.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. I almost said, welcome to the show, motherfuckers.
I almost said hola when you said that.
So you can see what kind of David's special battles and my special battles.
My Hispanic penises in my head.
And my angry, I don't really know what other adjective I could add to that.
I thought of a couple.
It's hard telling what they were.
You can download us on iTunes. We're also on a blog at hideousenergy.blogspot.com.
Don't go there.
You should go there if you want to listen to anything older. If you want to track down all of our episodes, they're all on the blog. If you go through our fan-off feed on iTunes, apparently
it stops at a certain number.
Yeah, and then as we make more episodes, they disappear.
They're all on iTunes, though, right?
Maybe through our blog, but through fan-off's feed.
Oh, I thought you meant... What if you go to hideousenergy.com and then that takes you to the fan-off page?
They're probably on there, too.
I think the archive's
I haven't looked, but I think it is.
So if you go to Hideous Energy...
Because the episodes are still on the internet.
Yeah.
It's just, maybe it's an iTunes thing then.
It might be. They're dumb. And they let us post our show for free. Please don't.
Yes.
So go to hideousenergy.com. It'll take you to fanoff.com. They host our show along with other podcasts that you should check out while you're there. Like we said, they have an archive that's posted there. We have a Twitter account, Hideous Energy. David has his own Twitter account, DC_Hopkins. I have my own, Austin R. Wilson. We both have personal Tumblr accounts. Maybe check those out if you want to. What else, David?
We're sponsored by Discount Comic Book Service. They are the best comic book retailer on the internet, and I'm not saying that because they paid me to.
No.
But because I, in fact, just went there this past weekend and spent all of my spare money because I like them that much.
Isn't it weird that they pay us and I don't think about it like that? Like I'm literally just like, we'll talk about DCBS because they're awesome. But they are sponsoring us.
Yeah.
And like paying for that to be mentioned.
We talked about them. We talked about them before we got sponsored, but we also tried to not talk about them because we didn't want it to look like, hey, you should sponsor us. Yeah.
We also used to call them Flourish and Blots, which was the name of the bookstore in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So, again, that's another sign of what you're dealing with here.
Can you not look at anything past... I went through so on iTunes, I looked up the podcast. Also, the Jeffrey Brown interview is the most popular one according to these little...
According to the little bars on iTunes.
Yeah, it says total 25 items. Can you not go back farther than that on any podcast?
I don't know. If so, that's dumb and bullshit. And even dumb bullshit.
I don't know.
Both of those things at once. Emery claims you can go back further, but look at him.
Where do I do it?
Emery got a good chuckle out of that one.
Well, See, 152 shows 152 episodes on Fan Off Speed, but it won't go past that. Why not, Emery?
Some of them will cut off. Like Marin's show.
Shut up, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, you can't translate his look of defeat into audio.
You can't see his brilliant comedic acting he just did. Which was probably just what it feels like to be friends with us all the time.
If you haven't used our special discount code on
what?
It feels good inside too.
Oh, does it? Emery says the pain feels good inside also.
If you haven't used our special discount code at Discount Comic Book Service, you can by doing this. Go to dcbservice.com, order your comics, and then when you get to the promo code box, type in Hideous 8, HIDEOUS and the number 8. If you've used it before, it won't let you use it again. It's one-time use only. So if you've already used it once, tell somebody else about it. Get somebody else to the site.
Correct.
And use it. I think my dad's getting ready to use it.
Also, don't just get one comic with it. You will get a lot off of that comic, but let's say you buy 5 comics and they're all 40% off. If you add that additional 8%, they'll all almost be 50% off. You'll have even more money left over to buy whatever kind of kicky shit you like to get.
Any kind of weird comics that you like.
I meant like sex toys or gross dolls.
Oh, you meant money left over.
Yeah,
I thought you meant through them. I was like, they're going to be disappointed because they don't sell like dildos and stuff.
No.
They sell statues. I mean, they sell stuff that you could put in your butt, but not maybe that's designed for that.
They do sell stuff that you could maybe put into your orifices.
Yeah.
Orifices. Is that what it is?
Orpheus.
Orpheus.
Yeah.
Maybe you might not start there. Like, if you make that your last
If you're going to make the journey of putting things into your ass,
maybe don't start with the comics.
Start with items tailor-made for your stuff.
That's a good point, David.
Yeah. I run a personal like sex toy thing on the side, and that's our slogan.
Start with stuff
that's made for your stuff.
Made for your stuff.
Tailor-made for your stuff.
Tailor-made for your stuff. Thanks for stopping by to listen to this. There's a whole other show waiting for you after this. I'm trying to think if
this isn't a show. Don't say it like that.
What?
You're like, thanks for stopping by. There's a whole other show waiting for you after this.
Yeah. Our show, the rest of it, is still yet to come. But we appreciate you being here and giving us your time.
Read 'em and weep.
Hope you can read. If you can't, this is probably a really sad show for you to listen to.
I was thinking about that when I was driving home, actually, about like
how you can't read and you've never told anyone.
Yeah. I've done all these lettering projects. People have just been pissed,
and you've lucked into getting some words right.
I don't know if any of them are right. About the idea of being this old and not being able to read.
Yeah,
there's some people out there that can't read that are adults.
Oh yeah,
it blows my
mind. I come into contact with people at work that either have a hard time reading or are still actively trying to learn to read.
Is it called Into the Abyss? Is that the name of it? That Van Herzog movie?
Probably.
Documentary. It's about the capital punishment and
I was gonna say,
killing people.
It's probably not about the ocean, which is what I think it is.
I don't know that it's called Into the Abyss. I'll look it up while I'm talking about it. But in that movie, in that documentary, there's a part that always stuck with me that's not really important to the movie in terms of like the plot, so to speak. But
what's the documentary, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it follows a dude who,
like the story arc.
Yeah, it follows a guy who from like they interview him before he gets killed.
Jesus.
And like it's super good.
Do they interview him afterwards?
Yeah, they just hold a mic up to it. It's really sad. He just lays there.
It's not funny at all.
No, like he's dead.
Here we are joking about it.
He was killed. No, it's all right, where is it?
I think it is called Into the Abyss.
Yeah, it is.
You had talked to me about it at one point.
There's a part in it where he's talking to this guy, like he's basically trying to paint a picture of this city. That's Conroe, Texas, it looks like is the name of it. And he's talking to this guy about different stuff that happened to him when he was like this guy got stabbed and shot. He's just some random person in the town.
Yeah.
And the guy talks about how he didn't know how to read. And like he says it in passing. I always thought it was so cool because Herzog like makes it a point to ask him not more about that, but he said the guy like basically says that he did learn how to read, or he doesn't say it at first, and Herzog starts asking him about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Did you learn how to read?" He was like, "I did." And Herzog like, I don't know. I thought it was really cool because you hear a lot of weight in his voice
and
Herzog's voice, where I forget exactly what he says, but he basically congratulates the guy and tells him like that's so good that you learned, that you taught yourself how to read, or that you you seeked it out at the age that you are.
Yeah.
The movie's not about reading, but that's one of the things that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
After I watched it, there's another movie he did where this guy gets eaten by a bear. So
it's also not funny.
It's not funny. That movie to me is more about like mental illness than it is about.
You mean Grizzly Man? For anyone who doesn't know what it's called,
Grizzly Man.
I still want to see it, but yeah, I mean, if I guess if you choose to go live with bears, you are either facing down the possibility that you're going to be killed every day.
Not even that, because the dude kind of had a gift. It's not funny. Like he kind of had a gift. I don't say kind of because ultimately the gift backfired.
No,
and
he
ate him.
He didn't have a gift. But if his gift was to live among bears,
Well,
he did that.
He did that a lot. The crazy part, like there's parts in the movie where he goes at one point he turns on the camera and does this rant about like poachers, and it's like you're watching him scream and swear, and you're like, oh,
You're not okay.
there's not people in there in that head. Like there's
Yeah.
something's happening. So this segment's about Werner
Comic
Herzog's
books.
documentaries, films.
We're going to talk about 2 comic books. Hopefully you stuck around. If you can't read, no shit. Listen.
That's what that's in your sentence.
No, there's help, and it's possible to overcome that. So you can fight it.
I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry, I can't get over this.
The not reading thing?
Yeah, like how hard that has to be. Like, you can't do anything.
I'm sure it's
in
amazingly
life
hard.
without having to read.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're
Well, I've read.
not doing things that require reading, I guess.
I just finished reading Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and there's a character in there who he can read, but his...
Is her first name really Rainbow?
It really is, yes.
That's weird.
The only reason I know is because she gets asked all the time,
It's not a pen name.
and I've seen her answer it. It is really her first name. Anyway, she writes a character who can read, but his ability to stay focused and his cognition of what he's reading, his reading retention, is so low that he has a hard time reading because he can't stay focused. So if people read to him, or if he hears the information read to him just from anywhere, like a recording, he can deal with it so much easier if he doesn't read it himself.
Yeah.
Which was something I remember my mom and my brother talking about. I think I've told you off air, but I remember my mom talking to my brother about reading and how the comma meant he had to pause.
Yeah.
In the reading, because he would read the words too quickly, and not pause where he was supposed to pause, and not give the grammar the proper its proper function. And he has I think he has ADHD. I can't remember. I've talked to him recently. He's talked about how
What's the difference between ADD and ADHD?
ADHD is hyperactivity disorder. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or hyperactive disorder, one of the two. And then ADD is just attention deficit disorder. Blake talks about how...
Wait, so one you can't pay attention and the other one you can't pay attention and you're hyper?
Well, yeah, it's like
that basic.
you
I mean,
can't,
obviously
like,
there's probably more to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like the essential. Yeah, like you can't calm down, you can't sit down, you have to be constant. Like I can absolutely remember days where Blake was impossible to deal with because he couldn't sit still, he couldn't stop moving, he couldn't quit making noises, just like random noise.
Yeah,
like literally just being like, whoop, 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 just like doing weird shit just to like entertain himself. And I'm like trying to read a fucking Star Wars novel in this room while Blake is dancing around and like clucking. And he says, like, I've talked to him now, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, about how even at his current job, he can tell during a day like that he's having a hard time paying attention. Like he just can't focus on what he's seeing or what he's doing and what's right in front of him. Like he even said to my mom, he's like, I need to start taking that medicine again because I cannot make my mind stay on this thing, which is really hard for me to think about.
Yeah.
Because literally, like reading, like if I'm reading a book, I can sit there and read that thing until my body is like, pee, you need to pee. And then I have to get up.
It's weird because I feel like I have the opposite of that in terms of there's so many things that I want to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Which kind of sounds like the same thing. But I mean, I guess in the sense where it's like, I really, really, really want to read. But at the same time, I also really want to watch a movie. And at the same time, I also really want to like play Grand Theft Auto or like...
Do you think it's comparable, though, to how you feel when watching a movie at home? Or because, like, we'll fuck with our phones or, like, we'll look at the iPad sometimes when we're watching movies. I think it depends on what film it is for us.
Yeah.
Because I know you and I will watch movies together occasionally where it's just me and you. And like when we watched Upstream Color, like we were in that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Partially because we knew it was a Shane Carruth thing and that we could potentially miss like
not be
a frame and then not know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But I think like when we're watching Teen Wolf, you know, we're not as focused as we would be.
Yeah.
for some things.
Especially with the homophobia,
Yeah,
which we already talked about last week, I think.
we did. Do you want to put a little bumper in between this and the actual you should read this segment?
No, man, that's not what we're about.
All right.
Episode 150, celebrating 150 episodes. of
Special celebration.
unedited bull crap. First comic up, Ultimate Spider-Man, number 27.
Yes.
Written by Brian Michael Bendis, illustrated by Dave Marquez, colored by Justin Ponzor, I believe.
Yep.
And illustrated, not by Eliopoulos, Corey Pettit.
Wasn't illustrated by Corey Pettit.
Lettered, by Corey Pettit.
Some people call this Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. Those people would be Marvel, the publisher. They would be wrong.
Yeah.
This comic is called Ultimate Spider-Man.
Is it Spider-Man No More on the cover?
No. It does say that.
It says that.
It does. That's kind of goofy. He's
I can't-
clearly Spider-Man.
I can't spend time thinking about that. Let's just go.
Why?
I don't know what that means. I didn't even know. How many issues has this been under Spider-Man No More? Or is this like the tail end of that?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Because this is still technically the very first time he's put the costume back on
Well,
after taking the break. This is still that. Because
Yeah, no, but he had it on in the last issue, and then he had it on the last page of the issue before that.
he did, but this is still all of those moments. I think that's probably one of the problems, and something that Bendis gets shit for a lot, is that these issues have come out when they have, not late or anything, although maybe, and I just don't know it.
I don't think they're late. I'm pretty sure it's been spot on. You know what I think is late, and I thought about it today? Hawkeye. I haven't read a Hawkeye issue in a long time.
It also might be on hiatus.
Is it?
It might be. I don't know.
Oh.
Let's speculate and just take guesses.
I heard Matt Fraction killed a guy and is on the run.
I heard he had noses for fingers.
Yeah, well, he killed him with noses.
That's it, man. Just fucking shut case. You're welcome, police. No, this is still the tail end of Miles putting the costume back on.
Yeah.
And then going out into the night. This issue, we see more of Taskmaster, whose costume we probably were giant assholes about. This is a giant action issue. Nothing but fights, punch and kicky. What do you think?
And it's for that reason that I'm a little bit less interested, but I didn't mean to say that kind of like Bill Cosby. Accidentally. But completely unintentional. But we've already talked about that before. Like
It's funny because I didn't hear it until you said that. And
I didn't know I was doing it.
That was Bill Cosby.
Well, I mean, we've talked
About
about this
what?
in Ultimate Spider-Man. These issues, Bendis has these crop up every once in a while, which is fine because, I mean, it's Spider-Man, so you want to see Spider-Man fight and do Spider-Man stuff. But I like the Miles stuff more, and there's glimpses of that here and there. I really liked the moment where he's freaking out because he doesn't know what to do.
I do. I liked that a lot.
And then Jessica, he's like, I forget what he's saying, but then Jessica Jones is there too. Nope, Jessica Drew. And she's like, I can't believe he wasn't doing this. He's amazing. He's a natural.
He's a natural.
Like, balancing that between each other, I thought was really cool.
I love Jessica Drew just so much.
Yeah, I mean, she's Peter, so.
I will do
cool.
just unforgivable things to make a Jessica Drew comic appear.
Yeah.
To read a Jessica Drew comic. I think it would be so awesome.
Me too, man. I've loved her since that Clone Saga. I'm really glad he brought her back and kept her around.
Here's what I propose, Marvel. I'll write a Jessica Drew comic. David will letter it.
Do it for this imprint that's maybe going to be ending in a couple months.
It's a great idea, right, guys?
One thing I liked and at the same time didn't like is mixed feelings.
Yeah.
Is how Taskmaster has his power from the 616 to where he can mimic stuff, like he can see someone do something and then copy it.
Well, he seems like not Mr. Sinister from the 616.
He's got Miss Marvel's powers.
Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, it's the same thing.
Because no, Ms. Marvel has to touch you, right?
No, she takes it's they say what he has. It's like basically he builds up the whatever they hit him with, he hits him back.
With the exact same thing. Because there are other characters who can just absorb energy and then redirect the energy.
He does do the same thing, but
which is like
the Taskmaster in the 616, he can just see someone do something and then do it.
Well, yeah,
in this it seems like they have to do it to him.
Yeah.
And he has to basically take the energy and then he
also
repeats the thing out.
Taskmaster from 616 can't see a power. and then regenerate that power.
Right, I know. Which is why I'm saying that this reminded me more of Ms. Marvel.
It's like Ms. Marvel mixed with
It's like he's
Sebastian
taking in
Shaw.
kinetic energy, or
Well, because Sebastian Shaw literally does take in energy, and then he can like he either like can eat the energy so it disappears or like redirect it. But
Ms. Marvel has to
use it.
Yeah,
I can't remember if Sebastian Shaw does
because
it or
there's some
not.
comic where she like they kill or they defeat the bad guy, and then she's like, I what do I do now? And so she like flies out into space and like shoots it into space or else she'd be walking around
a bomb
powered up. Yeah.
Not a whole lot to talk about with this issue since it is just a lot of punchy kicky. I really like Cloak and Dagger in these issues.
Yeah, they're cool. I'm glad that they are more than just. They seem like they could be additions to the book.
I think they could be. It scares me right now. It's just like there was a couple bits of dialogue where I was just like, all right, man, that's kind of putting a fine point on things. Where Cloak and Dagger were literally talking to each other, and they're like, "But we're teenagers."
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
I didn't like Jessica Drew calling her a swear word. I thought that kind of sucked.
Oh, actually saying swear word.
Yeah, she was like, "What a swear word." I was like, all right,
yeah,
okay.
I feel like
it's so minor.
It is really minor. One thing I want to talk about, and I guarantee you this has been discussed before in the history of comics, specifically Spider-Man comics. Do you think it's a necessity to have the Spider Mask's eyes react and grow or shrink based on what expression the character is supposed to be wearing right then?
I don't think it's a necessity, but I like it.
You do like it?
Yeah, I do.
I
always liked growing up when he would wince. Like he'd get punched and one of his eyelids would be a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Or like the pupil, so to speak, on his spider eyes would be smaller. I always thought that was cool.
I just always wondered what some people thought about it because
I mean, it's obviously not actually
it's
changing.
Impossible. It's impossible for him to have these spider powers. No, it's just something that I look at, and it's strange that I look at it and am not just like, I hate that or I like that. Because normally I'll see it and just be like, that's in almost every single Spider book. Like any book that has Spider-Man or any character that has a Spider-Man-like costume on, most of the time their eyes react that way. The Mask's eyes do.
Yeah. Some people do it a lot more than others.
Marquez isn't doing it.
Doesn't do it as much. He does it a little bit, but
he does, yeah.
Well, the eyes on his costume are smaller, so if he does, they are.
No, I know.
If they change, the change is smaller. But like when Spider-Man's got the way bigger eyes, like in the
McFarlane
616. Yeah, like what's his name that you hate? I think he draws a good Spider-Man.
Is it? Oh, I know.
But he draws really funky people.
Not Scotty Young.
Crap, what's his name?
Umberto Ramos.
His he does it a lot with his eyes. Tim Sale does it a ton in Spider-Man Blue.
Yeah,
where he'll have like the wincy or like the surprise eyes and stuff.
The wincy.
I just realized that Bombshell's mask is completely pointless.
It's not a mask.
Did you notice that?
She's got some shit around her eyes.
It looks like she's circled her eyes.
I mean, I hope she's ready to be killed in her home by the villains because they're just going to be like, oh my god, what? You're not even wearing a costume.
Oh, hey, Sarah.
Yeah, seriously. It's not hiding anything. It's like, it's the bit. If Bendis doesn't have in the next issue them being like, look, honey,
you need to fix this. Put on some sunglasses at least.
Yeah, find some Jackie
Hawkeye wears sunglasses.
Some big Jackie Onassis glasses. That's going to hide your face better than these.
Jackie O glasses. Right?
Right? That's right. 150, baby.
What's up?
Seriously, it would be better than the fucking like pink tape you have around the outside of your eyes.
It looks like electrical tape.
It does
around her eyes. It ends on a really pimp full page splash by Marquez. We didn't talk about his art at all, but obviously we love it.
No, it's amazing. He does some pretty sweet I think there's two page spreads here, and they're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
All of the art, it's fantastic. I particularly liked the part where Jessica Drew punched the Taskmaster in the face.
Oh, a bunch?
Mm-hmm.
Like that? You mean the page?
There's a page of her punching him in the face. The very first time she does it and cracks his mask, first of all, I was like, yeah, that mask sucks. Break it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was just like, yeah, kick his ass.
I think his costume would look cooler to me if he had his hood up. Yeah. I think immediately I would think it looked cooler. I don't know if that's just like I have a boner for hoods or if that's just like
Like cars too.
Or maybe like car hoods. I know I have a boner for those. Like
Yeah,
that dude on
that's true.
My Strange Addiction. I
Yeah.
own my car all the time.
Yeah.
But like or maybe it'll just make it look more like the 616. I don't know. I think part of it is the fact that his mask is so small, and I can see his forehead. Like it looks like he's wearing a mask that, like usually when you wear a mask, it typically covers the whole front of your face.
Yeah.
And not like you taped a napkin
Yeah.
to the middle of your face.
I think for me the problem is that it's so close to an emoticon. Like look at how like formless those eyes are. And
Yeah.
they're not fearful. They're not scary is what I meant to
They're
say.
just circles.
Yeah, they're just black circles.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't for me it doesn't take away his humanity so much as it makes him look like a fucking like scared ghost.
It looks like Knives Chow in that scene. And Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, where her
goes,
face becomes an emoticon. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're giant whiny babies about costumes. Comic books. It's a good issue.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing too noteworthy that happened in it.
Dude, I got into some fights with some people on Facebook about Superior Spider-Man. Even a comic like this where I read it and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have all the character stuff that I love, but I still enjoyed reading it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, there's a book where Peter Parker died and then they killed his ghost, and
Yeah.
then people are having sex with midgets, right, Emery? Someone had sex with a midget.
Yeah.
Or
Which
a little
is fine
person
if
or
you're
whatever.
a little person. It doesn't.
Dating, but isn't it like for comedy, like comedic effect? I don't know. I haven't read that far into it.
He's making fun of that.
You heard it here first.
Emery
Dan Slott
Peck
hates midgets.
states that Dan Slott hates little people.
I don't.
Dwarves. I feel so.
I think little people is the politically correct one. I think dwarves is fine too, but that to me sounds more offensive.
I assume I'm offending.
Like, why don't I call him Gimli? Like,
That's offensive.
I know, but like dwarves to me, I know it's a real word, but my mind immediately clicks to fantasy.
Did you know that dwarves, literally the plural of dwarves, was invented by J.R.R. Tolkien?
There was no plural for dwarf.
There was. It was dwarfs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know who taught me that? Neil fucking Gaiman.
Oh, really?
I saw it on his Tumblr one day.
What do you give this book?
I'd probably give it like a 5.5, 6 maybe. Maybe. Yeah, it's like 5.5.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a 6, so we'll meet there.
Sure.
Not at the same number.
I saw somebody posting online about doing comic book reviews, which
About how we don't do them.
well, no, it's just there's always so many people slinging shit about like you're reviewing comics wrong, and
The way I look at it
what you
is
should
we're
be
just
doing
talking
is
about
this. That's how I look at it.
it. And that sounds so broad. I mean, like, we're talking about the things that we liked or didn't like, and like we talked about the eyes a bunch, and we talked about what
Yeah.
we thought about the costume. It's not so much like a written review where we're trying to break down, craft.
Yeah, I think
Sometimes we do that, I guess.
I think we probably talk about comics almost as much as we talk about ourselves talking about comics.
No, we talking about reviews more.
Do we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're like, let's discuss our reviews.
I'm tired of talking about it. If you don't like it, that's fair.
We accept.
I understand why.
Yeah.
Next book up and last book up really is The Wake #4 by Scott Snyder and Charlie Murphy.
Correct,
It's not
Mundo.
his
It's
name.
Scott.
It's Sean. It's Sean Murphy.
Wow.
Sean Murphy.
It is Sean Murphy.
It's colored by Matt Hollingsworth and lettered by Jared K. Fletcher, friend of the show. He's not. He's
He
been
was
the
on
show
here
one
once.
time. I think the art in this book is so good.
It's amazing. It's so fucking amazing.
It's great. The title page where it has the actual credits.
Yeah.
And they have basically kind of Iron Man-esque readouts and
It's amazing.
kind of just other stuff that he drew that I don't think serves any purpose other than to look cool.
Well, no, I don't think it's just to look cool. It's setting. He's building the setting.
No, it is, but I mean, like, there's some stuff on there where I'm like, oh, okay, I can tell what that does and what she's in. And there's other stuff where I'm like, she can't even see that.
Oh, she can't.
That's
no.
just to make the page look awesome.
Well, I think it's. I mean, it's to make the page look awesome, but also to help the reader feel
It's sci-fi. It's
in
supposed to be
in
sci-fi.
the situation. I will fight someone with my fists that are full of thumbs.
It's Matt Fraction. That's not you. Oh, his noses. Sorry.
I said thumbs and I meant noses.
Yeah, did
I
you?
was trying to do a callback.
Yeah.
I'm such a failure.
Oh, I mean, we still did the callback.
You're right.
Luckily, I remembered your stupid joke from 20 minutes ago.
You're right. I still am a failure though. I'll fight anyone with whatever appendage to
I choose penis.
I know, to prove to them that Sean Murphy needs to be colored. His art needs to be colored. Because
Oh, yeah.
when you compare this stuff to that to the punk rock Jesus stuff.
And Batman
it's
Black
just
and White.
so superior.
And
when
I
there
think
are colors.
I think Hollingsworth has colored the other stuff that we've read, namely Joe the Barbarian and
probably
wasn't there something else that he did?
Sean Murphy.
Yeah, that we read that was in color. That might have been the only thing. I know Hollingsworth colored that. So
Well, first of all, Matt Hollingsworth colors they're just exquisite.
oh, they're amazing.
They're beautiful.
The stuff on Hawkeye is so
It's
good.
beautiful stuff. Sean Murphy's art is so elevated when the colors are put over it. That punk rock Jesus stuff looked so muddied. So
I mean, his pencils
no,
and his inks are great,
they're still good.
but without color, it's so like
Well, it's just I've seen images of his that he's done black and white that were awesome. Most of the time they're pinups.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're character
as soon as he
sheets.
crams in backgrounds and stuff,
It's just
really hard to see.
It is a giant mess of lines,
Yeah.
which it sounds more negative than I mean it because it's still very, very good.
Yeah. Thanks, man. 150 episodes.
I was trying to say the word "but" and that happened. But when the color gets over the line work,
Yeah.
it just pops.
Yeah,
it
it
pops
does.
so much. This issue is, it's actually pretty comparable to the Spider-Man issue we just read.
It's also pretty comparable to every issue of the Wake so far, which is
I don't think so.
I do in terms of structure, which has been scary stuff in action, and then someone decides to tell a story,
Oh, God.
which Snyder loves to do. But this happened in I think every issue so far of the Wake.
Every single issue where the
There's been
guy's
someone like, this reminds me of this thing that happened. Which in this one,
no, this one is the most damnable for me because he's like, this reminds me of this story.
it's the most damnable in the sense that it's not a natural fit at all
not.
because they're in so much danger.
crowbarred into it.
But at least in this one, I got more sense where I was like, okay, he tells the story and it clicks something for the lead, the main character,
Yeah,
where
but-
she's like, okay, I know, I have an idea.
that's why it is as damnable for me because the idea of like people naturally trying to come up with a problem and someone just coming up with the problem, as opposed to me just being like,
Or the solution.
yeah,
Yeah.
not a problem, yeah, solution. Because yeah, he tells that story and then she's like, "Oh, fucking light bulb, ding!
Yeah.
I just figured out how to advance this plot based on the story you told me for no reason."
Yeah. I mean, Snyder does a good enough job. Like it's
It's
not as bad as it is.
No, it doesn't kill
as
the
it
book.
sounds. Yeah, and also it's not like the chef is suddenly like, when I went to one semester of community college, like it's a folklore like
Well, see,
doctorate kid who's obsessed with folklore and
Yeah.
like remembers the specific thing. So like,
But it makes me wonder if we're going to see more of it because the prologue
my guess is yes, because
deals with those.
Snyder likey.
He does.
Snyder likey this.
He does. The prologue deals with that culture that the kid talks about randomly. Like those shots from the beginning of the comic,
Maybe.
they look very similar. The color scheme is the same.
Yeah, but he's been doing that at the beginning of every issue, and some of them have been like in cities that were flooded.
Yeah.
And like it's shown different. It
Well,
could be.
No, it makes me wonder if there's something going on that is plot related where these characters are having these stories either sent to them telepathically, or there's something about where they are that is connecting with these places, and because they do say something about mermaids. This in the story they talk about a mermaid.
Oh man.
Well,
I always think of that stupid movie,
where's it from?
Zoolander.
Oh, I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Not all the way through.
That seems like a movie that you would have seen. It's not good, but
I've only ever seen it on TBS in pieces, enough to see the gasoline fight accident, and the orange mochaccino thing.
Frappuccino.
Yeah,
It's the same scene.
I know, but the gas fights after that.
There's a part where he goes back to his hometown and John Voight is his dad and he's making fun of him and he's coughing. He's like, I've got the black lung pop. It's so stupid. And there's a part where they show a commercial of Derek Zoolander on the bar TV.
Yeah.
And he's like swimming around in a glass tank like a mermaid. And his dad's like, look at you, you're a mermaid. And he turns around so dramatically. He's like, merman.
I've never seen all of it.
Man, it's dumb. I used to watch it a lot.
It makes me wonder if these stories that the characters are telling very, very, very ridiculously out of nowhere is a story point, if it's a plot point, that they're doing it because either those creatures are communicating with them through some sort of thing, like who knows.
Well, they've already shown that they can they can create stuff.
They have, yeah.
Like they can cloud their minds and stuff.
Yeah.
You find out that the one pimp monster that basically is there to kill, just to kill stuff,
kill machine,
which you thought he died in like issue 2, I think.
maybe, yeah.
He's not dead. He survived, and the end. He survived, and they have an idea, which is to basically, essentially ring a giant bell, and to get
which they figure out about because that guy tells a story about ringing giant bells.
Yeah, and they it makes the mermans kind of swim away.
Yeah,
but then the very last page is there's a giant merman.
A giant merman, like as big.
It's
as...
kind of goofy, man. Like
it kind of is.
Like I liked this issue and I like the series, and I'm definitely going to read the rest of it. But when I got to the end, I was like, "Well, are we gonna like? Is the next issue going to end with a merman made of mermen?" Like
I was actually about to make that joke.
like, and because it starts off with one merman, and then the
big
cliffhanger
group.
is like, a ton of mermen, and then this one it's like a giant merman.
Well, I understand cliffhangers and having to write single issues to bring readers back.
And we're only halfway. I mean, it's issue 4 of 8, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible it'll stop doing that. But
well, the idea of just being like, and then a really, really big one showed up.
yeah,
it's kind of a weak plot progression.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know. I really like Snyder as a writer. I do, and he's written some great things.
I do too. And I like the series a lot, actually.
I like it. I don't like it a lot, but I like it. But also noticing those things that he does in every story that he writes, where a character will essentially like lean back and then get wistful and then be like, it reminds me of this time this happened, and then tell a story, and either someone is immediately like, oh, eureka.
Well, I don't know why it doesn't bother me as much in this, because they're all nerds.
They are,
and they're all about their knowledge. It bothers me more in books like Superman, where he's like, it reminds me of that time that I jumped into a haystack at Johnny John Boy's house when I was in Smallville. Like, that's the stuff that I get more annoyed by, because I'm like, you're Superman, dude.
It sticks out to
me. Go
me.
be Superman. I don't care about you jumping into some hay.
It sticks out to me really bad in Batman. In this, like we said, it's just so forced in there that one of these characters starts telling a story while they're worried about dying.
Yeah.
What would you rate this out of 10?
Honestly, I mean, we're talking about it like we hate it. I
didn't hate it at all. That one part
no, I don't either.
Is the worst part of the issue.
I would honestly probably give it a 5 or a 6. Like it's which most people probably say is a bad score, but the art is good, is so good, and the
art's amazing.
The writing for the most part is still really good too. The plot and like the atmosphere and the setting and the look of everything, I'm so into. So it makes up for a lot. At this point, like 4 seems very much like an issue where I'm like, this could have been a 6-issue miniseries and maybe should have been. Like making it 8 issues, like this issue kind of could have just been cut. Or they could have combined this and the last issue into one thing, because other than the big merman showing up,
there's a pretty good amount of this issue that could have been cut.
Yeah, but it's not really super vital.
I mean, based on what we have so far, issue 5 might show up, and we might look at issue 4 and be like, "Oh shit, this is vital."
Yeah, that's possible. And also,
I doubt it.
It'll read a lot differently in trade too. Like like you probably wouldn't even, unless they put very specific big page breakers between issues.
Yeah,
you could potentially read from 3 into 4 and not even realize that it's 2 separate
you're
issues.
doing it, yeah.
So, yeah, 5 or 6. I don't know.
I gave it a 5.
That's the end of our books.
What?
That's the end of our books. That's all the books we have.
Oh, is it?
To talk about. Yeah.
No, we're doing another segment about books.
Well, I mean, like weekly comic books.
Yeah, that's true.
Wasn't there something from Image that comes out tomorrow?
Is there?
No, I deleted it.
What was it? 0?
No, that came out 2 weeks ago. This was like, it was like some kind of Warrior Bushido #1.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on the FTP. It might have even been called Bushido or something.
I think it was.
To do with Bushido.
But
I didn't read it, though.
I didn't either. I don't want to be mean, but I looked at it and didn't like it.
Oh.
So it might be good.
You weren't actually mean.
No. I'm not trying to be. Maybe. Well, I don't want to be like. I don't want the team that worked on that is potentially listening. And
potentially. And
then I'm like, yeah, I looked at it and it wasn't for me, so I deleted it.
Hey man, this just in. Art's not for everybody.
Yeah, I know, but there is a book by I don't know who it's by. There's a book called Bushido out from Image today. So maybe you want to check it out.
It might be for you.
There was like warriors and swords in it.
Is that your shit?
I mean, kind of. Yeah, kind of. It is for me.
I was more asking the listeners, but I'm happy you answered.
Yeah, it kind of is. I don't know why I didn't read it. Maybe I made a giant mistake.
Who are you?
I like
anymore?
Stords. I like Stords.
I don't even know you.
I like Stords.
And now a special news bulletin. Hideous Energy thinks you should read this. Again, the reading thing, really hope you can do it. Another segment.
Only so that you can enjoy what we're going to talk about. You don't need to be able to read right in this second.
That's true. After we're finished
You need to be able to speak English, though.
That's mean.
Understand it.
For right now?
Yeah, to listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
And understand it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear it like I thought you were saying it.
I mean, speak English because we're Americans.
No, I heard it very negatively.
No.
Yeah, it would be like us trying to listen to Ani's podcast.
I mean, you can listen to it, but you can't understand it.
Like us listening to Ani's podcast.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, sometimes I'll put it on and then just be like, like run around. Almost like I'm having magic done on me.
I almost wanted to cheat and do 3 books for You Should Read This, but I'm not going to do that.
What?
Because it's cheating.
How do you mean?
Because there's 3 different ones I really wanted to talk about, and I had to narrow it down to 1.
We record every week, man.
I know, so I'll wait.
Okay, that's exactly what I meant.
The end.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I can go first because you went first last time.
Oh. Okay.
Is that sarcasm?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. My pick is a book called Life with Mr. Dangerous by Paul Hornschmeier.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm just making a noise when
No,
I say his last name to be a dick, but I think that's actually how you pronounce it.
Hornschmeier.
Yeah.
I like his last name a lot.
Okay.
I do.
I mean, it's okay. I don't have a problem with you liking it.
I'm happy.
It's just weird.
That makes me feel good.
It is okay. So Paul Hornschmeier is a dude whose work that I've liked for a long time, but he's very unique. Sometimes to his detriment.
Sad.
He's always sad.
Yes. Always sad.
He did a book called Mother Come Home for Dark Horse, which
we read that a long time ago.
yeah, which I liked it more than you did, but not much more because we were both like somewhat underwhelmed. We both really liked, or I think you did, but I know I really liked the art.
The art's gorgeous.
And the story was a little lacking.
It is a little lacking, but it was also almost like feeling your death slowly creep up onto you.
It was,
Not
but
in a bad way.
I mean,
If that's
I would say in a
possible.
bad way.
Well, maybe, yeah.
I would say in a bad way.
But I feel like that's what he wanted to achieve.
No, he did, but the difference is that he's doing the same thing Chris Ware's doing, but Chris Ware's packing more character and story into his stuff than Hornschmeier did with Mother Come Home.
I think that's true. Isn't Mother Come Home the book where he was barely utilizing the page? Where there was vast amounts of empty space around the panels?
No, that
Who
must
am I
be something
thinking
else. Anders Nelson?
No. Maybe Chester Brown?
Chester Brown does that. He does that in everything.
While you and I read something around that same time, it was either Mother Come Home.
Chester Brown, or I Never Liked You by
I
Chester
Never Liked You is
Brown.
what it was.
I like that more.
I Never Liked
than
You.
Mother Come Home.
That's the one I'm
neither of
thinking
those are what I'm talking about.
They're not.
But I really liked his art, and it left a big impact on me. His sense of design and his color schemes, and I loved it a lot. So at that point on, Half Price Books must have a deal or something, because every single one of his books I've bought there.
Half Price Books.
Half Price Books.
You heard it here first, folks. Half Price Books actively robs semis filled with books coming from Britain.
Well, yeah, and
They're
also
like the
specific
road
authors.
warrior. Yeah.
Like they always have the Best American Comics
They do.
volumes. And
do.
they've always had Paul Hornschmeier. So I bought another book called All and Sundry, which was an art book, which is a lot like that Acme Novelty Date book.
You've looked at that book a lot, too.
Yeah, it's his version of that. It's really good, but it's like a sketchbook type thing.
No story.
And then another one called Let Us Be Perfectly Clear. It's a hardcover, but it's a flip book. One side is Let Us Be, and the other half is Perfectly Clear.
That's by Hornschmeier, too?
Yeah, and it's good, too. And what I didn't realize when I was reading it is that there was a couple strips in there where there's a woman named Amy, who's not named Amy in the thing, who's the character from Life with Mr. Dangerous. I had never even heard of this book, and I was at Half Price Books this weekend with Amanda and saw it on there and bought it just because I liked his, I've liked his work in the past. And so I didn't even know this existed. Basically, it's like 150, 200 page hardcover graphic novel about this girl named Amy Breeze is her last name. She's I think she's 26 in the book.
I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying, okay.
Okay. And it's really sad. It's really sad.
So far, sounds like the thing I read by him already.
It's really sad. The back of the book has a blurb by Patton Oswalt that I think was pretty apt, where it says you're going to cringe, then you'll laugh, and then something else, and then it's like, and then you're going to cringe more. Like, there's a lot of those moments that basically you get to see her life and what it entails of, which is pretty much talking to her best friend who moved away, who she has feelings for.
Guy or girl?
Guy. And then her going on to really awkward lunch dates with her mom, who constantly criticizes her. Then going to her job, surrounded by coworkers who don't appreciate her or think anything of her. Then her going out on dates with guys, sometimes because she wants them to like her or because she feels insecure or whatever. She'll sleep with them, and then she constantly berates herself about that
For
move
doing that.
later.
Yeah.
You get to see the inside of her head quite a bit, and then she has this...
Do you mean literally? I'm not making a joke.
Not like... kind of, yeah. I mean, you get to see, like, daydreams that she has.
Yeah.
You get to see, like, different feelings personified and other things. And that kind of leads into this, is the Mr. Dangerous part of it comes in. And she has this kind of a parasocial relationship. Like, she feels like she has a relationship with this character on the show, but not really, because it's not reality TV. There's this show called Mr. Dangerous that has these different characters, and there's obviously some metaphors there, too, that she always watches and is a huge fan of. So you get to see those characters pop up here and there. It reminds me a lot of Chris Ware mixed with...
The art is very Ware-ish.
Yeah, kind of. He definitely takes up more of his panels.
Hornschmeier doesn't use space the way Ware does, but almost no one does.
Yeah, not at all. But there's a lot of now of Brown in it too.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a lot of from very obvious things to where she likes. There's a couple times where she makes some vinyl figurines and she wants to open up a vinyl figurine shop, and you see some of those characters personified as toys.
Yeah.
And then the thing I liked about it the most, and the thing that I walked away turning it from another kind of, I don't want to say average because that sounds bad, but like another more typical Hornschmeier entry to where it's like really, really sad, then really, really sad, and it's all beautiful. Like the thing that made it that was different for me on this one is that the ending is not at all what I expected. And he tried something completely different.
In what sense, though? Not in...
She's a unicorn.
I see. That's what I wonder. Not the unicorn thing specifically, but if it was sort of stereopolypy.
No.
Where they're like, oh, love, asteroid.
No.
Which,
thankfully, no.
Which, while I don't hate it as much as you do.
I don't hate it.
No, the ending. You hate the ending.
No, I don't hate the ending.
We've talked about this.
I'm sorry, but I don't hate the ending. I don't hate the ending. It's just when I get to the end, I'm like, the story's done, and then pretentious.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, I understand what Mazzucchelli was doing, but it's just so unneeded.
Yeah,
that last page.
Unneeded.
Not in that way.
Okay.
I can tell you if you want me to.
I don't want you to because I have this book at my house right now and I want to read it.
Okay, I won't tell you then. But I walked away. I read it in one sitting when I got home and walked away being super into it, man. It's my favorite thing that he's done in terms of a narrative work.
The thing that sticks out to me for this one more than it did for Mother Come Home is the art, because I don't think Mother Come Home was colored.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't...
Mother Come Home had different stuff in it. Mother Come Home had stuff that looked exactly like his style in this.
Yeah.
And then it also had stuff when it was telling it from the point of view of the son. And Mother Come Home is about a father and a son who lose their wife and mother, respectively.
Yeah.
She dies. So it's them dealing with grief in different ways. When they show stuff from the boy's point of view, there's like crayon drawings.
Yeah.
Like he uses different mediums.
The color palette in this stuck out to me almost immediately.
Yeah, this is his standard color scheme, which he uses, like I said, in Mother Come Home, and then also in...
What do you mean, color scheme or coloring method? Because they're flats.
They're flats, but he also uses the same palette too.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a lot of his stuff. There's a lot of stuff in Let Us Be Perfectly Clear that is really awesome. There's other stuff that's pretty abstract.
Yeah.
To where it's like there's one in Let Us Be Perfectly Clear, a story where it's these giant dinosaur monster things like fighting and walking around.
Yeah.
Like that's the story. So it's really, really beautiful. It's like the entry in the furry trap, the one called Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Where it's like a giant monster shooting flames at a city and destroying it, and it's beautiful, but there's not really a story.
Well, the thing that I always think about, because we talked about abstract stuff last week, where I was a pretentious asshole about it.
Don't remember.
I think I was like, "Oh, look, I'm a fucking octahedron or whatever."
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
shit.
And Best American Comics.
Yeah. But like Fife, like in the back of Zegas, or even maybe it might even be the back of Zegas #1. There are these abstract illustrations where you can kind of see structure to the point where it is vaguely humanistic.
Yeah.
Or that might be the wrong word.
It's the back.
Not
It's the
humanistic.
back inside cover.
Vaguely
I
human.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like people made out of triangles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they're talking to each other.
Yeah, they are.
They're having a conversation, and I think this is a huge compliment to Fife, but also I think it's just a better way to do it because there's still character.
Yeah.
Like these weird abstract shapes still have character, and whether it or not it is strictly because of the dialogue or if it's just because of how Fife rendered them, I don't know.
There's a joke in the first season of Community that always stuck with me in that sense, to where the main dude, I forget his name now. Joel.
This is Austin, right?
What's his last name?
Is it Joel Austin?
The actor. I can't remember now. Joel McHale.
McHale, yeah.
On the show, they're sitting around the table, and he said he's like, this pencil's name is Bruce, and then he snaps it in half. And Britta is like, and I think a couple of them have that reaction to where it's a joke, but that always stuck with me because it's like
imbued it with human
and personality, or even just a name.
Yeah.
Like immediately there's a connection. So having a mass of triangles talking to another mass of squares, you can't look at it until it's human, but the fact that they are having a conversation,
I guess
in some
that
way,
probably is a good point, because if you're a giant mass of triangles, I can't really relate to you.
And that's why this American comic entries are so hard for me and hard for you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, here's a picture of a triangle 16 times and then an apple.
Well,
I don't know what to do with that.
If that giant mass of triangles turns to its friend, the mass of squares, and says, "My ass hurts," I'm immediately like, "Yeah, me too, man."
Yeah, you're all pointy, dude. No wonder.
Yeah, stand up.
Yeah. Maybe you are standing.
Are you standing?
I don't really know. I don't want to be offensive here.
Actually, Mr. Squares, fuck you.
Are you naked?
I am standing.
It's just hard because the Best American Comics entries, when you see that stuff, I'm like, like you are, to where I'm like, okay, look, if you want,
It's a strange concept, though, man, because I know I've read very abstract things before. And I think the word abstract applies to a lot of different things, but in Best American Comics, or not even then, maybe it was Pop Gun, those Pop Gun anthologies, where I've read abstract stories where there is panel progression, where there is story happening, where I'm seeing things progressing.
Yeah.
Where it has just been I'm sure the artists would find it very condescending for me to say it's been to showcase that they are a good artist.
yeah,
Which is fine, and that certainly has its place. It's hard for me to read it and be like, okay, this was a satisfying story, because it's the story of a triangle turning into a flower or whatever, which could be very beautiful. Like you said, the image that Josh Simmons did of the Jesus Christ dinosaur, like killing a city, was beautiful, even though it was, maybe because it was clashing with the idea of what was being represented. I don't know. I haven't read it.
yeah.
But
I almost bought that again.
did you? Well, I mean, after we talked about it,
I will buy it again, but it's just expensive. That reason I bought it at C2E2 is because I found it for like 10 or 15 bucks.
yeah.
It's like 35 or 40.
I'm excited to read this Hornschmeier book. I know it's going to be depressing.
Yeah, you should borrow. Let us be perfectly clear too, because it's a really fast read and it's much more. It's either like short pieces that he did for other stuff or just comics that he did for himself.
Yeah.
It's not like a narrative work.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of the same. I just love his art so much. He's so good.
Here pretty soon, I'm 100% going to buy those Acme novelty date books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just, after I looked at yours, I want to have it.
Yeah.
To have it near me.
I'm pretty close. I think Quimby the Mouse is like the only thing I don't have, other than like trying to track down and pay hundreds of dollars for like the original ones.
Dude,
but most of that stuff's collected in Jimmy Corrigan.
Did you know Tamine is going to be at Politics and Prose, and so is Paul Pope, Jonathan Lethem. Like, all these people are going to Politics and Prose. It pisses me off that it's 8.5 fucking hours away.
Yeah, we're not going to see him.
No, we're not, man. No. Unless you guys want to sponsor us, listeners.
The one time I talked to Adrian Tomine, I was like, "Is this? Did you draw this Underworld? Like, this is in your book. This is from the movie Underworld. Do you know that? Do you know what this is?"
You know that this is a story about vampires and werewolves.
No,
right?
not werewolves. This is a movie about vampires and lichens.
Lichens. I'm sorry. I'm liking that. I tweeted about it, and I don't understand how the national media didn't catch on to it, and how the comic book websites weren't just like a light with what I tweeted, because I saw Seth, Canadian cartoonist Seth.
Oh, yeah.
Cartoonist, did you hear me? I'm a fucker. Turn to Adrian Tomine and say, yeah, these chairs are stupid. And I was like, who's here to witness this with me? This is the most normal thing Seth's ever said in his life.
He's sitting there in his, like, flapper.
No, he was, yeah.
1940s.
His fedora and his little glasses. I love him, but he looks like he stepped out of
Do you
Dick
think
Tracy.
that that's him, or do you think that that's...
I think that's him.
Really?
I don't want to use the word delusional. Listen to me.
I don't want to use the word schizophrenic.
No, it's just I think he enjoys that like culture, which is a weird thing to say because it's literally like 1920s America.
Yeah.
And he's maybe not even that, like just 1920s.
I mean, delusional might not be that bad of a word. Like, it immediately sounds... Let's look it up. Let's see what it's defined as.
Delusional?
I know the connotations that it has, but potentially it could be less
Offensive?
offensive than we were thinking.
Well, no, it would be like if... I don't know that it's necessarily like this.
Delusion as a noun.
An idiosyncratic belief
or impression that is firmly maintained despite being contradicted by what is generally accepted as reality or rational argument, typically a symptom of mental disorder. Okay.
So the mental disorder
the first part, yeah, that makes
sense
perfect
perfectly,
sense.
because culturally,
Yeah.
those clothes went out of style almost 100 years ago. No, that's just a fact.
Sound like dicks.
Factually,
Your clothes are so out of style.
No, that's the weird thing, is it's such a subjective thing, and I would never, like, it's not that I'm saying change.
Well, it's not that they're out of style. It's that his choices are clearly, like, hearkening to that era.
They are.
It's not like he has a fedora on and we're like, that's out of style.
No.
He has a fedora on and then, like, a zoot suit or something. Like,
It's even further back than that. But it's not. Delusion does kind of sound similar to what I think when I think about Seth, just because he lives in his own mind.
Yeah.
And that is a place where it's very, like, he looks...
I'm trying to remember how Jeffrey Brown drew him in Paying for It.
Probably.
Because he's in that a bunch and gives him, like, advice about, like, hey,
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't sleep with prostitutes.
To Jeffrey Brown.
I'm pretty sure he says that. He's one of the dudes that's, like, against it. I can't remember. But I can't remember if he draws him in
I think he does.
in that stuff or not. I mean, I guess it doesn't prove anything. He could just draw him in that because that's what he's known for.
Seth is one of those cartoonists who looks like his art.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's a purposeful thing or if it's a subconscious thing or just something that's completely random.
I don't understand that at all.
What?
Just that idea. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's wrong.
No, I would never say it's wrong.
Or there's like a problem with it, or I think it's stupid or anything. I just don't understand it.
Well, I'm attracted to the idea of not being guided by culture, especially. I'm going to sneeze.
Yeah, I understand that, and I'm attracted to that too. But I guess like I don't know. I guess Chris Ware kind of looks like his art.
He does.
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about everybody, they look like their art.
Paul Pope does.
Paul Pope does, and so does Tomine. But like,
Yeah.
But I don't know. But those guys don't have. I guess I'm thinking about their faces,
Yeah.
and their glasses and everything.
Yeah.
But with Seth, it's like head to toe.
No,
like,
he is from.
Like I don't turn it off.
He is from, like, he stepped out of It's a Good Life If You Don't Weaken.
Yeah.
Or like Clyde Fans.
Yeah.
Like, have you read Clyde Fans?
No, the only thing by Seth I've ever read is Wimbledon Green.
Horribly depressing. And it's not even finished yet, and it literally is about, like, he's so enamored with these things that have been culturally forgotten. Like, Clyde Fans is literally about someone who started and owns a fan shop, like electric fans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and while those still exist, they're not what people are like, you know what, it's too hot. Let's get a fucking fan.
Yeah. It's
They're
like a vacuum repair shop.
Yeah.
It seems like something that has to be struggling.
Yeah, and I feel like he is so obsessed with these things that have been culturally, at least as far as Western culture is concerned, forgotten or pushed by the wayside, or even just become obsolete based on the way culture has moved to either become more technologically dependent or just to be focused on things that are newer. Whereas like the idea of the fan. The electric fan has been around for a long time at this point.
I guess for me, the thing that when I said I don't understand it is the idea of it being a reflection of his art.
Yeah.
Like
It might not be.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. To me, it makes more sense, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
If he were to, like, let's say he stopped doing comics, or let's say he never did comics,
Would he still dress like
and he
that?
just dressed like that, then I'm like, okay, that's the way the dude wants to dress. But if it's because of what he draws and it's a reflection of that,
I don't think it is. I think they both go hand in hand. I think he just loves it so much that his art...
well, I think his art ends up reflecting him, and then like his
Well,
art
I
is just
think
another
it's-
output, just like his clothes are.
Well, yeah, I think it's both. Like, his art reflects him just like he reflects the art.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like I'm trying to think of a better example. A very extreme and crazy example would be
Let's hear it.
if Robert Kirkman dressed like Invincible all the time.
Very extreme. I don't know that that's comparable, but...
Well, I'm saying the idea earlier you mentioned it like he dresses and embodies like what the art he makes is, because that art is the way that it is, because the output, and then he then
See, I don't
does
know if I'm right. In fact, I'm wrong, I think.
there's no way to know right or wrong.
Sure there is.
in this,
In anything?
No, in this scenario,
Oh.
I'm saying just thinking out loud. If that's
Yeah.
the case, that's the thing where I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me, and at least not in a way where I'm like, logically that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean more because like that feels like Dirk Manning. Like I don't know that dude always dresses the way he looks in like C2E2 and Wizard World like icons whenever he shows up at cons.
When he has the, like, contacts in and stuff.
No, I mean the top hat, the tiny sunglasses, and like the mask that goes over his like mouth.
Does he dress like that when he goes to cons?
I don't know, but he's always like that in every single promotional thing and picture that
Yeah.
I've ever seen. And I've always wondered about that, where I'm like, is that like a shtick?
Yeah.
Like, is that your thing? Because you're like, I'm a mysterious, like I
don't
write
know.
fantasy or
That stuff kind of...
magic or whatever.
It kind of confuses me, but also in a way it doesn't, just because if that's how you feel comfortable...
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I guess I mean if you're making the decision to like
be a character...
or like promote your art, because my gut instinct is to be like, that's a gimmick.
Yeah.
Like stop it.
Yeah.
Like just
Stop this.
just tell me about your book. Don't like make me look at you and be like, oh, okay, I understand your book now.
See, it
Which is kind of a wrong and judgmental view for me to be
Sort of.
like, stop that.
sort of, yes. With Seth, I'd get the sense that he is, like you said, I don't know that maybe he doesn't think of himself as just another palette to express this thing. Maybe he does. But it feels that way, that he loves this style and this time period and this culture so much that he exists within it always. Or at least whenever he is in a scenario where I could see him.
Yeah.
Like if he's at his house, maybe he's not wearing the PJs with the like butt flap. I don't know. I
My guess is
certainly
probably.
would like to know,
Yeah.
Seth, if you're listening,
Send us a picture of you in your underwear.
with the
So.
butt flap thing.
How old do you think Paul Hornschmeier is? Hornschmeier, based off of his work and what you know about him.
Maybe like 45?
He's in his early to mid 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
That means he's like my age.
Yep.
Great.
I had no idea, dude. I thought he was like Chris Ware age.
Do you want to pause the show so that I can cry in your shower?
I mean, we can record it. No.
Let's go record it. Let's talk about the book that I think you should read. It's almost about as far away from Paul Hornschmeier's work as possible. First of all, it's published by Scholastic.
I see a Scholastic label.
Correct. I've been wanting to read this book for a long fucking time. I seriously think I wanted to read this book like as soon as it came out, which was in 2008, and I just now got around to reading it. It's called Amulet. Book 1 is The Stonekeeper. It's by Kazu Kibuishi, who, if you've been paying attention, just recently redesigned every single cover to the U.S. publications of Harry Potter. Also,
Paperbacks.
yes, and they're nice looking. This book is not all readers or all ages, but it's like young readers, young adults, because it deals with some kind of darker things, specifically death. But it's an adventure story.
Wait, so why is it not all ages then?
Because I don't know that I would read this to like a 5-year-old. Or a 10-year-old, I think they could probably be okay. Because it's not like murder. Although there's death.
Okay.
There's scary stuff in it. Not that I was particularly scared of. But for a 5-year-old, this could probably be kind of fucking terrifying.
Okay.
Some of the monsters you see, some of the stuff that happens to some of the characters. It's a very, very fast read. And normally not the genre that I gravitate towards. And I don't even just mean like action adventure, but more so like young readers. Because I read a lot of young adults, but or young adult stuff, but mostly they're novels.
Yeah.
I haven't really read a lot of young adult comics. Kazu Kibuishi, though.
Well, this doesn't even seem like YA comics, does it? Isn't it younger, kind of? Like, this seems like Bone Age.
I think it's
Like the same demographic that Scholastic aims their Bone comics at.
potentially, I would call it young adult.
Like Hunger Games age?
A little younger than that, but not too much younger. Like
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's like Bone Age.
it's like 10 to
The age where they bone.
It's like boning.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Sorry.
Scholastic.
I'm sorry.
It's like 10 to 15 year olds maybe. Like that's like if they were pitching this, they'd be like the wheelhouse for our readers. It's like 10 to 15 year olds.
Yeah.
But obviously, like I read it, Emery read it. We both really liked it. I want to read the next volume. Emery wants to read the next volume. Kazu Kibuishi's stuff is really, really pretty. I think some of the stuff in this issue was painted by his wife, Amy, who has her own comics and does a lot of her own art. Her name was Amy Kim Ganter, but then she married Kazu and she took his last name, so it's Amy Kibuishi now. They're both just really, really talented artists. This is it's a tale of a family.
Who's the dude that does the Flight anthologies?
That was him.
I was going to say, is that him?
That was
I was pretty
Kazu
sure that
Kibuishi.
was him.
They're finished now, but
Yeah.
he was the guy who started them. That was,
Yeah.
I think that might have been where he got his start, was doing the flight stuff.
See, that's where
But I
I
might be 100%
I had
wrong.
always heard about him until I knew about him doing the Flight stuff way before Harry Potter.
See, I found out about his flight stuff, and then I found out that he did Amulet, and then I found Amy, whose art I was following for a while. And then this was on my radar a lot, so I was really excited to figure that out.
Was that ever online?
Amulet?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was.
Because there's like a young reader's comic that I'm almost positive is that I found online when I was stumbling one time.
Well, he has another. This isn't the only thing he's done. I think Amulet might even be finished now, if I'm
It's not.
remembering right.
It's not.
It's not.
A volume came out last month, and
Well,
then
he
there's
has-
another one next year.
I think he has another comic called Daisy Cutter. I don't know if it ties in with Amulet or not, but I think that's his most recent. It's Cutter with a K. The Amulet follows this family who is struck by tragedy, and then you have to deal with that, which he puts in your face pretty much page like 5. So that's not really a spoiler, but you don't know what the tragedy is. Anyway, the kids and their surviving parent go to this house out in the middle of nowhere, so shit's gonna get rowdy because they're out there. He uses a lot of fantasy mechanisms that like C.S. Lewis-y type stuff, Alice in Wonderland, that kind of stuff. C.S. Lewis didn't write Alice in Wonderland, by the way.
No.
But it involves another world.
Yeah.
These characters entering into another world. It deals with bravery. It deals with...
Jesus Lions.
There are no Jesus Lions yet. I've only read one volume.
I'll reserve judgment until I find out about the Jesus Lions.
We don't know if there will be any of them or not. There's some pretty gross monsters, and there's some pretty awesome action. This one's called the Stonekeeper, so it revolves around an item that one of the characters comes into possession of, and it's the story of trying to figure out who you are. It's one of those coming of age stories that is told alongside an adventure tale. Don't want to say too much. Not that it would be too easy to spoil, because this is volume 1, so really quick read. It's a small volume.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It reminded me a lot of how I felt when I was younger, and I would watch movies like The Goonies or The Monster Squad, and this sense of adventure of...
Like being taught to hate gay people. And
like The Monster Squad did, yeah. And The Goonies, I can't remember what The Goonies taught me to hate, but they taught me...
Fat kids.
Yeah. Fat kids.
Maybe teaching that racism is funny. Is that kid racist? Is that racist? Is
What?
Short Round racist?
What, in that movie?
No, not in that movie. Well, that movie, he's not really racist, is he? Is he like just a bad stereotype?
Do you mean is he racist or is the like is his character
not
racist?
even his character as like his actions, but like the inclusion of him in the movie?
Is it racist? Like,
Well,
is
because
he
someone pointed out to me the other day how racist Short Round is in Temple of Doom, and like that's never registered for me. And then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess kind of.
You mean like are they the token race character? Because in the Goonies, sort of, yeah. And in Indiana Jones, less so because there are more people of color in the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
In the Goonies, it's hard.
he's the only non-white kid, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is.
What's his name? Is his name like Data?
It's Data.
Or
yeah.
Q? Yeah,
It's Data.
Q. Is his name Q?
It's not, but he does pretend to be James Bond.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. Which literally at the beginning of that
How
movie.
much? I've seen that movie once. I remember him being in it for like 10 minutes.
He's in the whole fucking movie, man.
Is he running around with everybody?
Yeah.
He is.
Slick shoes.
I thought his name was Data.
It is. If you had seen the movie more than
confused.
you had, the joke would have made sense to you.
I was very, very aggressively trying to get a hand job when I saw it, so
Really?
don't remember a lot of it. Yeah.
When did we watch it together? Anyway, that's basically the tone of Amulet. Kids having adventures.
My dad's gonna hear that.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wait, who are you?
It's Amanda.
Obviously, Amanda.
It's just weird.
No,
that-
who were you with when you saw the movie?
Oh, Amanda. It was just me and Amanda.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, you're married to her now.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, it's just I don't ever think about that stuff, and then later I'm like, man, my dad listens to the podcast. Like,
Well-
he's gonna laugh and stuff, and like, I don't think he'll be weirded out, but
Is this gonna weird him out?
no, he's probably laughing right now even more.
Well, the phrase aggressively trying to get a hand job is pretty distasteful.
It sounds violent.
It does.
I mean, aggressively in the sense where I was more pleading and
no.
being denied. No, not pleading and like I did not have in any way the upper hand or like
No, you were.
I was not in control
No, yeah.
of the situation.
You were hoping for a hand job.
yes,
It's a much better way to put
Yes.
it. Because in my mind, you're immediately like, please, just please give me a hand job, which is the worst.
well, yeah. I thought you meant it sounds worse, like I guess it could. I don't know.
Either way, what really happened is
There's no sexual assault or violence is the thing we need to make clear.
clearly, yes. David's now happily married to her, and they have a very healthy sex life.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, Amulet by Kazu Kibuishi. There's a little talking rabbit. There's automatons. There's awesome shit.
isn't it weird that those things are in Skyrim?
Automatons?
Yeah.
It is kind of weird.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the talking rabbit's name?
Mitsuki, I think. Mitsuki. I don't remember. Starts with an M, has an IT, SK, somewhere in there. Mitsuki, maybe.
How about mittens?
It's not that. There is a robot named Bottle, which I was happy about. And then some crazy, surprise shit happens. So there's also a scene that was very reminiscent of a scene from Star Wars Episode 1. It was painful. It was a painful 6 pages for me.
What do you think intentionally?
No.
Like, was it a parody?
No. It's not that close. In fact, maybe no one would see it.
Oh,
other than
episode
me.
1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? What is it?
You know the part where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Jar Jar Binks are in that stupid fucking boat, that submarine,
Yeah.
and they're going through the water, and the fish are trying to get each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where there's 3 characters in a boat / it's a plane. It's not a boat. They're in a plane in Amulet. There's 3 of them, just like in Star Wars. They're going through this very narrow place, just like in Star Wars, being attacked on all sides. It's not by any means so close that anyone is going to notice. But when I saw it, that's what popped into my head. I absolutely do not think Kazu Kibuishi was like, I'm going to recreate that scene from Star Wars Episode 1.
Oh no, I
It
mean,
just made me think about it.
well, why? What did? Oh, just that? That was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, that's it. There's no joke. There's no
I was waiting for the little rabbit's like, oh, Misa's so crazy,
No.
or something like that.
No, but the rabbit is, I think, there for comedic relief. Just like there's
Mittens,
Mitsuku or something. I think there's one.
Michigan.
His name's Michigan.
Now I want that. Now I want it to be that.
No, there's another robot named like Cogsley or something, and he's just a little fucker. He's always being an asshole. He's just like, hey, Runts, why don't you shut up? And then Mitski is like, oh, man, maybe chill. It's a good book. If you like, I think you could probably read it to your kids. Not you, David, specifically.
Read it to my cats.
Read it to your silent kittens. No, but if you have a kid who's like between the ages of 10, maybe 13, because if your kid's 15, he's probably going to be pissed if you're reading to him.
Read him Life with Mr. Dangerous. It has scenes of just despair and sexual dysfunction.
If you're 15,
prepare them now.
You need those things.
Prepare them now for life's disappointments.
Topic Thunder.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Bitches.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the theme song.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I don't think there is one, actually.
Not a theme
Yeah,
song?
I waited for one because I was pretty scared because the...
that did go out of vogue, right? Like theme songs?
Not really, though, because, like, Fringe had one, Breaking Bad had one. You mean with lyrics?
Fringe's theme song was just like...
Wait, okay, that's why I'm asking. Do you
Noises.
mean with lyrics?
Like lyrics, yeah, but also just like... Because, like, Firefly had one, which is awful.
Well, no.
I know a lot of people
Most shows,
like it.
most shows still have theme songs. They're just... they usually just don't have lyrics like they used to back in the day. Like Parks and Rec does, Office does,
Well,
New
yeah.
Girl does.
I meant theme songs where it's like... Making my way downtown.
Stuff like that. No.
Yeah.
Great American Hero, no.
What I was singing Michelle Branch, or who was it?
No, that's Vanessa Carlton.
Vanessa Carlton.
I'm saying, like, you mean in the vein of Greatest American Hero.
Yeah.
No, but they still have themes, like
Yeah.
Homeland has a theme, Breaking Bad had a theme.
Yeah.
That's-
Kind of.
Yeah, it did.
Breaking Bad was like 3 sounds.
It was shorter.
It's like 3 sounds.
Homeland's is ambient music, and then people being like, "I told you to do that!" Like just like sound clips of people like screaming and stuff. Weird. It's pretty scary.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Joss Whedon's TV show.
Kind of.
Sort of. I didn't watch it. David did, and so did Emergy. So we will occasionally have interjections from Emergy over there.
If you want to talk, lean in.
Yeah.
And he will hand you the mic.
Don't just shout into the room.
We're not barbarians.
We're not even hearing you right now. We're not even trying to hear that shit. So S.H.I.E.L.D. Everyone knows about it. What is it?
Everyone watched it too, man. It was a
Did it have-
ratings hit.
Was it?
I think it set some kind of record of some type.
I didn't look up too many reviews of it, but some of the stuff I saw didn't really surprise me too much, which was, it's kind of weak. It's a pilot. They don't know what they're doing yet. Basic stuff.
I didn't get the sense that they didn't know what they were doing. I did get the sense that it was a pilot, and there's basically zero way to judge what the show is going to be like.
Yeah. Shows have changed pretty drastically from their pilot on, because Parks and Rec now versus that pilot, I wouldn't watch the show if it continued to be like the pilot was. But now it's very different.
Yeah, and the thing that I compare it to is Fringe, where I liked the Fringe pilot when I saw it.
It's okay.
But it was kind of the same thing. There were things I didn't like. There were things I thought were really cool, and then most of it was like, all right, I'll watch more. And that's kind of how I felt about S.H.I.E.L.D. It brought in 22.1 million people altogether.
Holy shit.
Which is a lot for TV.
A lot of people.
It's good that it's on Tuesday nights because...
We can't watch it.
I meant it actually is good.
Oh.
That it's on Tuesday nights.
You are not being sarcastic.
No, for us, bad, because I think it's on right now, or it just ended.
Right as we're talking.
But it's not a Friday night where it's just being sent to die.
Yeah.
So it's got a chance. It definitely, for me... I've watched 2 or 3 episodes of Arrow, and while I liked it well enough...
Braver than I am.
I liked this
Emery
more.
likes Arrow?
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't bad at all.
What's your problem, Emery?
I like, in much the same ways that I like Marvel's universe in the movies more than DC's, which DC doesn't really have a universe, but...
Nah, that's hilarious.
It's much more unapologetically, like, bright and superhero-y.
Would you agree, Emery?
Yes.
Thanks for putting your face up to the mic. Too much. Because, like, Arrow is not called Green Arrow, and for a mask, he's got dirt on his face.
It's called the Hood.
Is he called the Hood now?
The Hood.
That's worse. I'm glad I'm not
They
watching.
call him the Hood?
They call him the Hood.
That's
He's
a Marvel character.
vigilante. He's a vigilante. They call him the Hood, and he has dirt on his face.
They don't call him Arrow?
No. He's
I
not-
thought they did.
No, he's called the Hood.
That's stupid. He's Green Arrow, right?
Yeah, but this is like him becoming Green Arrow.
It's
So
not
we're
though.
still- Yes, it is.
They used Green Arrow year 1. He became Green Arrow then.
But nobody knows that that's what he is yet. They still only see him as this vigilante that's kind of taking Star City back.
It's not
Starling City.
There we go.
There, Starling.
You know what? I take it back. That Arrow show sucks balls.
Why would they call it Arrow and then call him the Hood?
I don't know.
Look, I don't understand.
That's the name that the cops or the newspaper gave him.
Media. It's the media. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just dumb.
Well, fuck them. I don't understand the idea, and our friend Action Seth probably would agree with me here, because I don't understand the idea that to make those things more palatable for an audience, they have to show you before they become what everyone knows them as. While that can be an interesting story, like Smallville, he's never going to be in the costume. They fucking thought that was such a thing to be proud of.
I thought it was a cool idea. If you would have gone 3 seasons and then ended it, then yeah, do it. Do it up to where he leaves from Metropolis and the series ends. But when you go 10 seasons and you're like, he's in Metropolis, he works at the Daily Planet, he's being Superman,
He's got a trench coat on.
but we don't put him in a costume, then you're deluding
No,
yourself.
they lost themselves. But I don't understand that. Like, if Arrow becomes Green Arrow at the end of the series, that is completely counterintuitive to me. Because are they really trying to capitalize on the audience that they already have for the comic books? Or are they trying to bring in a new audience? If it's that second thing, which I'm sure they would say it is, which sounds dickish of me, but...
It's a soap opera. It's a soap opera. Like, I'll be watching and I'll be like, all right, he's about to lean in and kiss her. And then that'll happen, and then I'll be like, oh, man, she's going to say something that's going to keep them from being together. It is very much a soap opera.
It's
But I
CW
think
angsty, kind of.
I think it's leading towards them becoming, or him
better than
becoming
Smallville.
Arrow much sooner. I think they'll start calling him that. I mean, The Flash is going to be in the second season. Like, there's...
Well, yeah, but that fast asshole was in Smallville.
Well, that's a backdoor pilot, though, is what they're doing on Arrow.
Oh.
They're making a Flash TV show.
Well, yeah, but
He's going to
okay.
be in the costume and stuff.
For me, DC stuff, like from how you're describing Arrow and what I saw of Smallville, like you were saying, it seems like they are less comfortable with the idea of making this a superhero show.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to know about.
Which is what I was
S.H.I.E.L.D.
saying about S.H.I.E.L.D. is the opposite.
that they are comfortable about that it's about superheroes.
Oh, yes. Some of the negative points I had about it were that they do it too much.
Okay. What's that mean?
It means that
They talk about they flash into the Marvel universe a ton. Like, there's references to Extremis.
I was fine with that. I actually love that.
It was good, but if they keep doing that every single week, where they're just like, oh, and this happened in that movie, and we're going to talk about it.
Well, like there's references to
okay.
there's references to Thor and there's references to Iron Man and I think to Hulk, and that's fine.
So far, have they referenced comics though, like stuff that hasn't been filmed
Comics.
in the pilot? Like, were they like, there's this guy, his name's Danny, or like, I know you would have told me that already.
Shut your mouth.
I don't know, but like things like that.
No, yes and no. Spoilers, because I'm going to spoil the end of the episode. The Lola, that car, is the flying shield car. In terms of like stuff that hasn't been in the show, was there anything? I don't think there was in that pilot.
Here's what I want to know, because I haven't asked you this yet. Is and I'm going to spoil stuff right here too. Is Coulson a life model decoy?
I hope so.
I hope so too. All right,
That's so
Because
cool.
when Book, or whatever his name is,
Shepherd Book.
Yeah, Shepherd Book from Firefly.
Yeah.
When he's like, he can never know. You're like, oh shit, he's a
Well,
life
Coulson,
model decoy.
the show
Could
follows.
be a red herring.
The show follows. I don't think it is.
You think he is a life
I
model
think
decoy?
if he's not, then at the very least, I think that it was some typical S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff where they altered his memories or messed with his brain.
Look, that's one thing they better show a lot in this series.
The rumor right now,
Because
and it's
S.H.I.E.L.D.
on the internet now. By now, I'm
Are
sure.
kind of motherfuckers.
Oh yeah. Well, see, that's something. Okay, so we'll start with the pros.
Okay.
Of the show.
Yeah.
Clark Gregg is the biggest one,
amazing,
obviously.
sure, yeah.
So he's amazing. I read a couple reviews, and this is 100,000% true. It's a lot easier for you to connect with him and like him because you've seen him in a bunch of movies.
Well, you mean the Marvel
His
movies
character
specifically,
right? Yeah, the Marvel. You've seen Coulson before.
500 Days of Summer.
No, that's what I wondered if you meant. Is you just like, I like this guy. He's an actor I know.
He was in Choke, and he plays the same character. He doesn't. He also directed Choke, and I think wrote it.
He Chuck Palahniuk.
Correct. That one.
He directed that?
He definitely directed it, and I'm like 90% sure he also wrote it, the adaptation.
I'm going to search that and hold the microphone near Emery in case he talks.
Okay. That's one of the biggest pros. Basically, the other characters, so there's a main guy, I don't remember his name. His name is basically...
Grant?
who
Agent
cares?
Grant?
His name is Handsome McBoring. Because he's basically just supposed to be like a chiseled, like Black Ops, like, oh my, I've killed people and I'm dark.
Because that's how the show starts, showing him being a badass.
Yeah.
Isn't that guy? Didn't he do a bad job acting? If it's the guy I'm thinking of,
He wasn't terrible.
He was
pretty par. For
I
the
saw
core.
someone talking about how there's a character in the pilot that's not going to be on the show regularly.
Who's bad?
Yes,
That's the black dude who has powers. I don't remember his name.
His name is J. August Richards, and I love him.
Oh, is he on? Yeah, he's on
He was
Angel
on
or
Angel.
something.
Yes.
Man, I hope he did a better job because he sucked in the pilot. He was awful.
Yeah, it was not great in the pilot.
His writing was really bad. His writing was the worst stuff because basically they had a cool idea with his character in the show, which is the world has changed and he has this kind of identity crisis as a human.
Pause.
Okay.
Clark Gregg did write the screenplay for Choke. He also wrote the story.
What Lies Beneath?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, continue.
That idea of the pilot is basically that this dude's kind of having an identity crisis of sorts to where he's like, okay, the world has completely changed. Like, the Battle of New York happened. We've seen gods. We've seen, like, living World War II legends. We've seen these giant monsters. We've seen aliens invade from another dimension. Iron Man threw a nuclear weapon and blew up, like, space. He blew up some crazy stuff. And just being humans now means nothing. Like, we are basically, as humans, the people that these gods, that these superheroes are just going to step on and destroy, which is a cool idea. Unfortunately, his dialogue at a couple times is like, this is my secret origin, and like really heavy-handed, like on-the-nose comic book stuff, which sucked. Luckily, I don't think he's going to be on the show anymore because he sucked really bad. I'm sorry, Emery. Maybe he's good in other stuff. But he was.
It sounds like Emery recognized that he did a really bad job despite loving him.
I do,
Okay.
and that's the thing. Like I was reading something about how one of the ways to improve S.H.I.E.L.D. is to make sure if something's not working, cut him out. And they talked about him, and they talked about that. I didn't like her.
Sky?
The chick who was part of that internet.
Sky?
team. Yeah,
I liked her.
I did not like her.
She was a little bit spunky to the point of obnoxious a couple times to me, but I didn't mind her. She's basically, there's a like a terrorist cell kind of thing called Rising Tide, and she is a hacker that is in this van.
Is she like Abby from that shitty CSI show where she's like, I'm quirky, I wear black lipstick?
No, she's not like that.
Not that bad.
But she's like, I'm hot and I do computers.
She sounds great.
She yeah, she had some funny lines. She had some funny deliveries. I didn't mind her.
Her dialogue was too well written. That's the biggest problem I have with her. And that's
Do you mean it sounded written and not like it wasn't a person
Like, not
speaking?
like her.
yeah. Chris Smits was talking about it on Twitter, and he was saying that his biggest problem with the show is that
Who's Chris Smits?
Chris Smits is editor for Oh Yeah Comics.
Oh, okay.
And he was saying that the thing that took him out of the show immediately was how well written it is, because it reminds you it's written. And
I didn't get that from her, but
that's how I felt about her, especially once I read he had said that. I was like, oh, that's what her problem was.
she's I don't know. It's all this stuff is so tough. The stuff that I definitely liked was Coulson. I definitely liked don't remember her name. I think her name in real life is like Ming Na Wen.
Yes, she's awesome.
Her
super
character
awesome.
is really cool. She has some
She's
type
got
of
some
past.
kind of secret story. Yeah.
Coulson, she has a desk job, and Coulson comes to her and is like, I need you to help with this. You're basically going to drive the bus, and the bus is their plane. And she's like, that's all I'm doing. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, what if I say no? And he's like, it's an order or whatever. He says it kind of tongue in cheek, like. And there's at one point where she takes a dude down, and she takes him down like a giant, like Born Identity pimp. So she has some type
Take him
of.
down with a ballpoint pen?
She punches him in the face with a book, like in the Born Supremacy. So she has obviously some type of like either black ops or something to where she
Something.
doesn't want to be involved anymore.
What if it just
And
go
her
with me
subtlety
here.
I really liked.
What if it turns out that she used to work for the Hand?
It's possible.
Like if that's the kind of
or
stuff,
like Hydra.
that's the kind of stuff that I want the show to do a lot of. Not espionage, but reference things
See, I do and I don't.
within the world of Marvel.
They reference stuff that's already happened for sure in the pilot.
Well, that's
like
fun.
you see a bus that says Stark Industries on the side. I freaked out at that.
Like that's cool.
that stuff's really cool
And
because
that's
it makes
easy.
the world very
yeah.
because a lot of it is like you are watching a TV show, so it is kind of weird to see the universe on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
because you're like, this is a backlot. This isn't New York,
You're not on a
and that's
street.
fine.
And it takes place in L.A. It doesn't take place in New York.
Or well, I mean,
Okay,
Wherever
I was
it
just
is.
making sure.
yeah, wherever it is, but like it doesn't look like
you
they're
can
really
tell,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
you can tell they're sets, which is okay. But it's kind of I had to click my head over because when I first saw it, I was like, oh no, this is gonna suck. And
Well,
then
it
I
was
had to
also-
get used to
was-
it being TV.
Also, it was the pilot.
Yeah,
Like literally, this has nothing to do as far as tone or content. The pilot of the Gilmore Girls, Luke's diner, literally looks completely different.
Yeah.
Than it does for the rest of the series.
I think it was on Wired or AV Club. Someone was saying like, we have to remember that this had to have had just the crap micromanaged out of it by Disney. Like this pilot, like this movie made, what was it? Almost $2 billion. And all these people are going to be watching. All these people are going to be knowing about it. Like they're not just going to let them do absolutely whatever they want. Obviously, they're going to give them some creative control, but they're going to want to know exactly what the pilot looks like. They had to approve the pilot. I'm really down with watching more of it because I think it could become something really good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried that I don't know. I really love Firefly, and what I've seen of Buffy I liked, even though it's really dated. But like, I know some of his
Angel
other
is
shows.
better than all of them.
Okay, sorry, calm down, man. don't hit me. But like I haven't watched Dollhouse, and I want to, but I always hear about Dollhouse basically.
for listeners, Emery with Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon and the Whedonverse is almost like Emery's Star Wars for me, where it means a lot to him.
Yeah,
So
and this is
I
basically
could actually feel the heat on my hand from him talking.
this is basically is it the team from Dollhouse or from Angel that's
No,
basically running the show?
From what I've read, there's a couple from Dollhouse and there's a couple from Angel, so it's not a full team from everywhere. And I could be incorrect.
Well, it's like
because the last
Melissa-
time I looked was at the very beginning.
It's like Melissa. I don't know how you say her last name. It's like it looks like Tracheon or Trachian or something. I know she's from one of those shows.
Is her last name Tachyon?
Yes, her last name's Trachea. And then one of his brothers is the other
And
like
he-
showrunner.
he
not
didn't have-
Zach. Like
it's
Jed. Jed Whedon.
He didn't have anything to do with Angel. Angel was Joss Whedon and David Greenwalt, who works on that show on NBC about
Werewolves.
werewolves. Yeah, sure. Oh man, what is it called?
Is there a show that I'm not watching about werewolves?
No, it's the it's the show about the mythical creatures.
Once Upon a Time?
No, not that's on
Grimm?
ABC as well. Grimm. Thank you. It's the Brothers Grimm. I couldn't get there. David Greenwalt created that show.
More like the brothers suck, right, guys?
Oh,
right?
I got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
So and also like Whedon's not going to have his hand in every single episode. He's
No,
going to
no,
be
no.
involved even less in it than he was towards the end of Angel, and not. I mean, he was very involved in Dollhouse, and he's not going to be in this. I mean, he co-wrote the pilot. Tonight's the episode that's on right now. I don't even know who the writing credits are for. I
don't know.
I don't know if he's even a guy has a writing credit for it.
I'm definitely excited to watch more because it has the potential to be so good. And the pilot, when I started watching, I was very scared that it was going to be really bad, and
Yeah.
I was going to be like, "Oh, great! Like this was such an awesome idea, and it's going to flounder." And I didn't get that, even though there were moments where I was like, okay." I don't want them to go overboard with references to the stuff that already exists because
the films?
I got scared that they were already
Well-
starting to do that. They also had a Spider-Man reference that I really didn't like at all.
What? How?
They didn't because they can't, but. She was like, with great power comes, and then she says something else like the ability to destroy stuff or something like that.
You mean it's not a reference, it's a wink. It's a wink at the audience.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have they would get sued.
No, I know.
if they
That's
said it.
that's why they shouldn't even write it into the show.
I mean, it's I get it. Like, they know who's watching.
Yeah.
And they know that we're going to get it.
They do, but see what I was talking about earlier. As
But
far
I get
as
scared where
referencing
I'm
comic
like,
books.
I don't want you to Big Bang Theory me.
No.
I want you to be sophisticated.
Yeah.
I want you to do this stuff in a neat way.
I like the idea that they
Like,
could
don't
reference
pander.
things that happen in comic books, although they have given themselves alternate storylines than a lot of the comics.
I know
They're
there's one-
taking things from the comics, but they're not necessarily just retelling those stories.
Well,
A
there's
for B.
The main
for A?
the character.
You know what I mean.
What's the guy that you love that sucks really bad in everything he's ever done?
J. August Richards.
Yeah.
Wait, who? What?
His name's J. August Richards.
The dude who's really bad in the pilot, who's not going to be in the show.
Oh, yeah.
The face.
Yes, where he gets shot in the face because you don't know that it has the cure in it, and you're like, that the whole time. That
Oh,
dude's
you
been
think
like,
that
you think that dude's just gonna
Handsome
ace him
McBoring
the first
shot
time,
him
the
in the
first chance he gets. You think he's just gonna ace him,
Yeah.
and then like you see when it hits his head, it's just like
It's
that
healing him.
hint of blue, and you're like, oh, because that's a very Whedon moment,
Yeah.
and it's a shame that he won't be able to stick around to play that out.
Whedon, you mean, or that dude?
That dude.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean,
hasn't-
potentially he might.
Well, hasn't Whedon said that he's done with TV as far as like?
No, he's just done with Fox.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say was
seriously, it's like fool me 5 times, just cut my throat.
that dude, J. August Richards, right?
Yeah.
Is his character's name? I forget it. Is a like F level Marvel comic book character.
Really?
Yeah, he was some dude who was in some Avengers comic in the 70s, and
He
then
in this incarnation he gets like a cocktail of powers from alien tech and the
Chitauri
extremists and
tech.
Chitauri, and it goes haywire
and gamma stuff too,
Yeah,
gamma radiation or whatever.
and there's some those are some cool nods.
Yeah, the him, and then also there's going to be a bad character either over the whole season or over some episodes, who is a Avengers villain from the 70s called like Gravitron or something. I didn't know him at all. He's probably from like some like George Perez era Avengers stuff. I don't know. Did George Perez draw the Avengers? Other than that JLA,
yeah, he did.
JLA Avengers miniseries.
So they're gonna fight like a carnival ride.
That's what it sounds like.
Probably.
That spinning carnival ride. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I
Everybody's
know
just gonna puke on each other.
I want there to, like, what I think would be ideal is if they have that stuff, but they don't do it. Like, I don't know. Either don't do it at all, or do it and do it to the way where it's
right.
Well, I mean, like with this, they are like that dude is a Marvel comic book character, but he's a dude who appeared in one issue in the 70s.
See, that's what I was gonna say.
So, like, who's
Referencing-
gonna know that?
Well, is that important though? Like, I know it's important because they want to give the audience that is there what they're wanting.
Yeah, but I didn't recognize it at all.
no,
I don't know how.
no.
I don't know anyone that I know that would have.
I know, but that's the thing is, you're trying to please an age range between, like, literally probably at this point, like 5-year-olds and like fucking 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
Because the kids who saw those superhero movies, who saw the Avengers, who saw Iron Man and all those things, maybe they're interested in this show. I don't know. Maybe their parents let them watch it because they know it's Marvel. It's hard telling.
Well, it would. I don't know. I have no idea how business works or government or
You
any
give
kind of
people
basic
money
systems.
and they give you goods, right?
Is that a bank? Is that what a bank is?
Banks give me things.
What would be awesome is if they would get people like not super high caliber famous actors, but like dudes who could then, and by dudes I mean men and women, who could then, if those characters showed up in a future Marvel Universe movie, go in there and play the part in the movie. So, like, to use Iron Fist as an example, just to use him as an example, because
yeah, randomly.
well, no,
chosen.
because he fits. Because if I were to use Daredevil as an example, they're not going to put Daredevil on the show and have him be played by the dude who was in that Terminator TV, Brian Austin Green. They're not going to have Brian. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that disparagingly.
That's too bad.
No, I don't mean that disparagingly, but like that's the kind of actor that's.
They need a former actor rapper to play Daredevil.
Well, like that's, and he played Metallo or something in Smallville, or like he's played
I think he's done some
comic
voiceover work,
characters.
too.
Yeah, so like that or Summer Glau, like that level actor or actress to where they've been in maybe a couple movies, but they're mostly known for TV.
Do you mean
and they
someone
can
who
fill that
actually
role?
could act? And I'm not saying anything bad
No,
about
I know.
Brian Austin Green.
I'm saying What would be awesome is if they had, let's say they did have Iron Fist on an episode. Let's say they had Heroes for Hire, and they were like, there's this company, Heroes for Hire, whatever, and they have Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Get 2 big name actors for one episode, and then that way, if they do show up in one of the movies, they they could work it into their contracts to where it's like you have this guest spot on the TV show.
See, that's
but
nice.
That's also, maybe 2 guaranteed spots over the next 10 years in one of the movies.
Well, yeah, that's
because like the rumor right now, and it's been proved at this point because the episode's aired and we don't know yet or not, is that Sam Jackson's at the end of this episode, at the end of episode 2. Which kind of blew my mind. It makes sense in terms of the universe. Like Colby Smulders, is that her name?
Yeah, she
Colby
was in the
Smulders.
first
She was in the
episode.
first episode. She sucks a lot and I hate her. But she was in the first episode and I don't hate her and she doesn't suck a lot. She's one of my least favorite parts of that Avengers movie. I don't know why. Not her character.
She's Robin Scherbatsky.
I don't know what that means.
I'm kind of not sure why either, man, because she doesn't do a terrible job in it.
She doesn't, but she's by far the worst actor in the movie to me. Like, there's some deliveries that she does where I'm like, you are really pretending you're a secret agent. Like,
Acting!
It seems very, like she's pretending.
It's like I think because you're talking like Ruffalo's contract. His contract was like for 8 things,
Right.
Like whatever you would want to call them. He's like for 8 things, and that could mean fucking 7 Hulk movies,
Yeah.
and the 1 Avengers movie, or it could mean 4 TV spots, 3 Avengers movies, and I lost count of my math. 1 TV spot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Math's not important on
Or
this
like
show.
one guest spot or something like
Yeah,
that.
so it
Like
could mean all those
I guess
things.
before the series started, I just assumed that we would never ever. It would be very, very separated. We would have the movie universe, which has all the big name people, and then the TV universe, which has a bunch of actors I'd never heard of other than Clark Gregg, and that's basically it. And then maybe we would get guest appearances of other Marvel characters, but they would then be played by quote-unquote TV-level actors. And I guess the idea is if you're going to have Colby Smulders be in it, and Sam Jackson potentially was on this episode tonight at the very end, then bring in some new characters, but have them be played by actors who can translate well to film and who are bankable in that sense, that they would be able to continue to build that universe. Because my fear is that it won't be what I would love to see, and I don't know if they would do this, is to have them so closely integrated and intertwined, not down to a T to where if you didn't watch the show, you'd be lost when you watched a movie.
Yeah.
But have either villains or plot lines or something
bleed over.
Then when Avengers 2 comes out,
Well,
you see things where you're like, oh, that's from the TV show.
Not even just from a story,
Because they're taken from the
storyline
movies.
plot or a plot from a storyline standpoint, but just like a business standpoint.
Yeah.
If you create a character on the show that becomes wildly popular with the viewers,
Yeah.
and then you could translate that into a film or transfer it over into a film franchise, that's not a guaranteed success.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger chance of success than DC just being like, we're gonna make a Dead Man movie. Are you? That's fucking cute.
Well, have they already squashed the rumor, or is it still a rumor that Agent Carter's are going to get her own show as well?
Agent Carter.
Isn't that
From
Kobe,
Captain America?
Kobe Smulders?
No,
No, it's not.
That's Maria Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, Agent Carter from the yeah.
Her
She's
own
supposed,
show like in the 40s?
yeah, we're gonna. It's gonna be on a black and white picture tube.
Set in the 40s.
No, dickhead. Yeah, well, it's going to be set present day when she's 90.
I have not read far into these rumors because I was like, oh, I'm not wasting my time on that. But
Well,
it's,
there's a short.
Here you are wasting our time.
There's a short on the Iron Man 3 Blu-ray about her. It's called
Right.
Agent Carter.
right, and apparently she might get her own TV show now too.
I didn't hear about that. What are you doing?
Don't worry about it.
I hadn't heard that. I kind of don't want that.
I don't. Well,
I feel like immediately we're flooding the market with this stuff, and then
seeing something be successful from a business standpoint, like this first episode getting however many fucking million viewers, 22 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that to them is probably just like, all right, how can we milk this? Which is fine.
probably yeah.
But I like the idea of slowly integrating characters from the comics that haven't been in the films yet, but also just trying to expand the world.
Yeah.
I want them to tell a good story, but I also like the idea that they could expand the world so that there's just more options. It feels like a big place because we've never had that until now.
Yeah.
Like when these movies came out and all these movies connected, it's something that we had never seen before. And the amount of success they've had with it, I don't even mean monetarily. I'm literally just talking story-wise.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Because to balance all of those things and have them link up like they did.
I just
crazy.
don't like they have this universe that's shared that's so cool. Like I want them to capitalize on that with the show and continue that level of quality and integration rather than like I don't want the TV show to feel pointless because they already have so much momentum and weight.
You mean it's just another espionage show?
Or not even that where it's just like oh yeah, Marvel did a show too, and you can watch it if you want to, and it's set in the same universe, but there's no.
I want them to be able to utilize the
movie
things
to
that
movie.
they have.
Yeah, movie to movie, the universe changes, and events and characters and things happening.
Well, Iron Man 3 is literally a different movie because of that Avengers film.
Oh, 100%.
It changed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the S.H.I.E.L.D. show has this guy who's infected by Extremis, which is 100% from Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Like they're weaving it.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't want the TV show to feel like it's almost a novelty. Like capitalize on the fact that you have this universe that's shared that you've
Sounds like
already
they
took
might
so
be
much
trying
from.
to do that if tonight's rumors about the episode are true.
I hope so.
If Sam Jackson shows up there, I think that maybe has a stronger possibility that the series is going to turn into something where they are integrating a lot of more things.
Yeah, I hope so. The one thing that I thought was pretty cool was at the end they had it was either special thanks or it was some type of credit to a bunch of creators. They had one. I'm trying to remember if Stan Lee and Kirby were on there or not. I think that they were. I know that Mark Miller and Brian Hitch were on there
Really?
for the Chitauri from the Ultimates.
Oh yeah,
Because they mentioned the Chitauri, so they don't own that, so it wasn't like they had to say something about it. And then I think Steranko was too because of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like the comic that he did and the stuff. Also, he wrote a review for like Vulture. Did you see this?
No.
He was kind of maybe super racist in his review
Of this show?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
What did he say? Can you say it?
yeah, I can say it. Like, it was something that was published. It was on the site. Like, it wasn't like just his blog where he's Frank Millering himself
pretending
out.
to write for.
I saw people talking about it on Twitter where they're like, "Oh, it's great that Jim Steranko's a giant racist now."
They were being sarcastic, right?
Yeah, they were being sarcastic. But then I saw,
I mean, the way you said it.
I think it was, crap, who was it? Mike Norton, who was like, if you think Steranko's a racist, you're a moron or something like that. Like there was,
I don't know that it's that cut and dry.
I'm paraphrasing, but it was, it didn't seem as cut and dry where everyone online was like, Jim Steranko's a giant racist. I'll read you what he said.
Yeah.
That picture of Jim Steranko is crazy. He looks like a drawing.
The giant fake white teeth.
He's talking about the main dude who's black, who they call him. I don't know that they call him anything, but I think
they eventually show you his driver's license, and they always call you her friend. Because when they're
no, I
talking
mean
about the
the
hacker,
media. Because when he saves a
no.
couple people, he has his hood up, but he has a hooded sweatshirt on.
they call him, he's the hooded hero.
Is that what they did? They actually say
They
that,
say
like the
hooded hero
media.
because it's splashed on the
headline?
in the news headline.
Oh crap, where is it? I'm trying to find it right now. Because I remember when I read it, I was like, I don't know that you should have said it this way.
I'm scared now, and it's probably not going to be as bad as I'm imagining.
It's not horrible. Is this even it? I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to.
That's a Hollywood Reporter article.
What were things? Okay, talk while I'm finding
Worth
this.
things. TVs.
Well, tell me things.
Couches. Emery's facial hair.
Emery, what did you like and what didn't you like?
I liked the nods that were the subtle. I'm with you. I didn't like the Spider-Man thing, with great powers. I didn't like the hacker chick. I loved Whedon people popping up.
You mean like actors?
Yeah, like Book showing up, and I'd like to see let's see some Alan Tudyk pop up.
Is he British?
I don't think so.
I don't think he is.
And I'd like to see I mean, I would watch the entire cast of Firefly on this show. And I know that David Boreanaz is busy with Bones, even though that show's a piece of shit now. I would love to see him on it.
It's one sentence, and it's really not terrible, but it's enough to give you some small pause and be like, what exactly do you mean, Jim?
It's hard.
He says, could anyone understand the dialogue delivered by the S.H.I.E.L.D. lab team? My answer to that is yes. I didn't understand all the criticism online. They call him Fitzsimmons. One's name Fitz and the other one's last name is Simmons. And they're like It looked like they were romantically involved. One's British, the other one's Irish.
I thought they were like some kind of twins, conjoined twins split at birth or something.
Are they guys?
No,
one's
guy
and
girl.
one's a girl.
They have different
and,
last names, which I mean doesn't actually have to mean
right.
that they're not related. But
The girl makes a Harry Potter reference, and a lot of guys found that sexy.
does she?
Yes, she says I'm.
Maybe
not
I didn't
Hermione.
understand them.
He said. She says I'm not. She says I'm not Hermione.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't remember
they
why
have one,
she
she has
says
a
it.
British accent. He
Do
has
you want to rethink your stance now?
yeah, it's awful. Make him be American. I didn't have any trouble other than missing every Harry Potter joke,
There was just one.
understanding them.
He missed 100% of them.
Okay, so here's what Jim Stranko says. It's on the Hollywood Reporter. Could anyone understand the dialogue delivered by the S.H.I.E.L.D. lab team? Yes. Did anyone feel punted into PCville by the hooded hero being black? That's the sentence that people were fighting about.
I don't know that that's racist.
It's not
it's
racist.
obviously a reference to Trayvon Martin.
Yes.
Which is touchy subject.
It's not immediately racist, no.
But also, that's not like just from me hearing that this guy was
to call him a racist?
No,
that's not enough.
No, that's not what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Hearing that this character was a black person and hearing that they had their hood up, I wouldn't have immediately been like, "Oh, that's so politically correct," because those terms don't mean what Jim is using them to mean in this context.
I'm still not convinced that Jim Stranko's alive, and that all of this is him.
That Twitter account's really him.
I mean, apparently it's been verified that it is him.
Does he have a check mark? Because if not, fuck that.
I
Show me the check mark.
don't
Twitter.
know, but I don't know that I would trust the check mark either.
Not Twitter. I mean, they verify.
I mean, what do they do? They come take fingerprint scans? Like,
I don't know how they fucking do it, but they do it, man.
I understand that it's verified for like famous people and stuff.
Also, he throws his hood on because he doesn't want people to see who he is, because he's got a kid and he's trying to protect his identity. He's not like, yeah, I'm going to throw this hood on.
I think Jim had less problem with the hood as much as him being black. And not that he had a problem with him being black, but saying like he was black so that they could make it PC.
That has nothing to do with political correctness, though. That's just a complete misuse of that term.
I guess PC in the sense where, I don't know.
It's not. It would
I guess there is one, like, everyone is white on the show, except for,
well, no,
I forget her name. She's except for her, yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's what he's saying. Like,
that he's the token
like
person
PC
of color.
in terms of trying to, like, beef up the color factor in it.
I feel like if that's what he was trying to say with that one sentence, he maybe should have elaborated a little bit.
I think this is why there was so much fighting on Twitter about it, is because he didn't say more, and so people were freaking out about it.
I haven't seen the show yet, but I can honestly tell you, Mr. Storanko, that I do not feel punted into PCville because the character is black.
Yeah.
Which might not have even been what you intended to say.
Man, I forgot how sexy Chris Hemsworth is. Saw that picture.
He's a good-looking slice of man.
Yeah. And I got to see his butt when I watched Rush.
Again, I don't know that you ever confirmed for me that was actually his butt.
I think so. Yeah, it doesn't.
Do you see his face and his butt?
He walks into frame. I'm trying to remember if he turns around and you see him or not.
Because I thought I saw Kevin Costner's butt once, and it wasn't his. It was a double.
What movie was that in?
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
You see his butt in that?
No,
You see
don't.
Robin Hood's butt in that?
You do see Robin Hood's butt.
Do you see
It is not Kevin Costner's butt.
which movie, and or is it both movies?
Okay, does it deal with nudity?
Yes.
I'm going to be able to answer this.
That
for
you see a girl butt.
in what?
I'm going to give you two movies. Tell
Okay.
me which one it is, and or
Whose butt?
no. I know whose butt, but if it might be both.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, I remember seeing both these movies and being like, "That's a girl's butt," like being like real shocked by it.
Waterworld. Yes.
It is a butt.
Yes.
That's one of them. What about Stargate?
Stargate.
Do you see her butt in that?
You do see a butt in Stargate.
Is it the part where she comes into James Spader and she like drops her clothes?
There's
It's PG-13, so
No.
you don't see like.
There's less butt in that scene, but I think there's like a hint of some butt.
Because I remember being like 8 and being like,
Waterworld, full on butt.
I remember that one. I have a better like memory of because I think that's like a wide shot.
Oh yeah, it is. She's on the deck of the ship with the Mariner. And
He's drinking his own piss.
He is. It's very gross.
Jack Black's shooting planes down.
Yeah, and then Enola, the girl who then later plays a character on Veronica Mars.
Don't remember.
She's in the bottom of the ship.
She a little girl who has
Yeah,
markers.
with the map on her back. Spoilers.
She has a map on her back.
Yeah, for the dry world, to dry land. To dry world.
World.
It's the opposite of Waterworld. They actually
is
almost
it tattooed
did
on her back or
yeah,
what?
Yeah, it is.
Is it like a scar or is it like
No,
tattooed?
it's a tattoo.
Like an actual tattoo.
Yeah, that's why the smokers want to
I haven't
kidnap
seen this
her.
movie since I was so young.
It's really bad, and I love it.
I wonder if I could watch it now and still have fun with it like when I was a kid.
Negative.
Have you watched it recently?
Not recently, and loved it. It was this immersive, like almost Mad Max experience where the world has changed. And I was
See, that's how I always looked at it when I was a kid too. I had a Mariner action figure too.
I had all that shit. I had the Mariner's ship.
Really?
It was the toy was great, dude. It was so awesome. But then it's literally these villains are called smokers, and they smoke cigarettes. That's it. That's the villain.
Dennis Hopper's a bad guy, right?
He is, yeah.
Aren't there horses at the end?
Yeah, when they go to dry land.
Wait, so is there literally no land in the movie until the end?
Yep.
So like, did they build cities on water?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I remember them like not just being out of the ocean all the time.
No, they were on floating cities,
Okay.
which it was super fucking expensive for them to film.
I remember that. I remember it being just a giant disaster.
Very, very bad idea.
Who made that movie?
I don't remember. It strikes me as Michael Bay-ish, but I don't think it was him.
It strikes me as Roland Emmerich-ish.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too. No, and then Kevin Costner had the gills behind the ears.
Yeah.
And then he would literally swim to the very bottom of what was the ocean at that point and grab dirt. And then he would take the water out of it like he did with his own piss. And then sell that dirt.
It's co-written by David Twohy. That's the man right there.
No shit.
Yeah, dude. A Perfect Getaway.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite movie of his. No one would know him by that, though.
What else has Twohy done?
Riddick. Everything Riddick.
Oh.
Riddick's his boy.
Yeah.
It's then directed by Kevin Reynolds, who co-wrote Red Dawn.
The original.
Yes. And then he directed Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Waterworld, The Count of Monte Cristo, Tristan and Isolde, and Hatfields and McCoys.
I
just
like
can't stay away from ampersands now, apparently.
I really like that Count of Monte Cristo movie.
Isn't that the one with Jim Caviezel
Yeah.
and Guy Pearce?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like it too. It's just maybe the most inaccurate.
It's pretty inaccurate.
Not even close to the book at all.
There's a hot air balloon in one scene.
And The Count of Monte Cristo?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch Waterworld again.
Me too, man.
It sucks though, right?
Yeah.
Oh my sweet lord.
It's
the
bad.
extended television cut is 3 hours long.
Holy shit.
I don't even know how.
Well, these are the things that I thought about later when I became older and started thinking about Waterworld. First of all, Kevin Costner's character, who is only known as the Mariner, kind of not even barely mentioned as the Mariner in film, swims to the ground, like through this like dead and just completely destroyed city, like past skyscrapers, which means he is probably swimming down at least like 2 miles, and which is fine. He's mutated, so he's a mutant. Emery. His head won't explode in that case because he's a mutant. However,
Is he the only one of his kind?
no.
Are there other people with gills?
I don't know about that, but apparently they're common enough that when you see it, you freak out and then put him in jail and then kill him. Because when he goes to the one city...
Because of the gills?
Because of his mutation, yeah. One of the guys literally screams mutation, and then they attack the Mariner and then put him in
Do they show
jail.
other mutations?
No. Just him. But he swims to the bottom,
It's disappointing.
to the ground, with that main girl who shows her butt in a water bell. So that when he pulls the bell, it's not actually a bell, but it's shaped like a bell. So then when
Keeps
he pulls
the
it
air.
into the water, there's an air bubble. He takes her all the way down there. Not only does she not get the bends,
Wouldn't she breathe all of her oxygen up?
yeah, she would.
She would just die.
It's so long to get down there. That one was kind of ridiculous to me. Then I was like, wait a second, dry fucking land? That had to have been that mountain that motherfuckers die climbing.
Everest?
Yeah.
Is
There's no snow on it.
Well,
I was wondering if that
how
was-
did the world happen the way it happened?
They don't tell you.
They don't?
Maybe not. I don't remember. They might do some really heavy-handed, and then the world ended at the beginning of the film, because you see the planet with the continents, and then you see the water starting to cover the continents, and then it covers the
Wait,
continents.
so
and
is
they're gone.
I was going to say, so are the continents down in the water?
Huh?
Oh, okay. So they're still there.
Dude, Waterworld.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying I didn't know if the continents were blown apart
No,
or
they're just under the water.
so we just got more water basically.
It's what's going to happen
planet
to us
flooded.
in maybe about 10 to 15 years when we kill our own planet.
Does it say is it the ice caps melting
Yeah.
in Waterworld?
Yes, I think it is, yeah. The polar ice caps melted, and then we all die.
If the polar ice caps actually melted,
Would the entire planet be covered in water? No.
oh, it wouldn't.
Sea levels would rise, and a lot of land would disappear, and life would become infinitely harder for everyone everywhere. I really wish I hadn't read the article that I read like 3 days ago. I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm going to tell you about something that I heard. 2 things, in fact. And you're going to be surprised by both of them in very different ways.
Great.
The first news story.
Is it going to make me stop thinking about us all dying?
One of them, yes. The other one, not really.
Great.
The first one is, it has been ruled in Sweden. There was just recently a thing where a guy was masturbating in public.
Okay.
And it was ruled that as long as he wasn't masturbating while looking at someone or at someone, then it was fine. And he got away with it.
Holy shit.
And they basically ruled that potentially it could still be disorderly conduct.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But like this old dude went to a beach. He stood at the edge of the water and smacked it around a little bit.
Just looking at the water?
I guess, yeah. He wasn't looking at anyone or in any way, shape, or form seemingly, being aggressive. So essentially, legally, the precedent has been set that you can masturbate in public in Sweden, and it's okay.
That's fucked up.
Okay, this is more messed up.
Great.
They just declassified some documents.
Oh, God.
And this was in The Guardian, I think it was, and or The Independent, both British.
Is The Guardian the one that British people always tell us never to cite?
I don't know. I heard this on a podcast, so who knows? Maybe it's all made up.
Which podcast?
Smodcast.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I always see British people tweet, don't ever cite The Guardian.
No. I know what you're talking about. No, The Guardian's like where Nick Hornby does his like literary things that are published.
That's The Believer.
Yep, you're right. But The Guardian's another one, another like more highbrow thing, I'm pretty sure. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about
The Mirror.
Is it The Mirror?
I think it's The Mirror.
Okay.
The Daily Mirror, I think is what it is.
Anyway, some
Yeah.
documents just got declassified. In 1961. So not...
Is this about Martin Luther King Jr.?
No.
Okay.
In 1961, not at the height of the Cold War, but thereabouts,
Sure.
we were transporting 2 nuclear bombs from one side of the United States to the other. While it was over North Carolina, there was an issue with the plane, and the plane started like coming apart. One of them fell out of the plane, fell like 30,000 feet, and hit North Carolina,
Holy shit.
but didn't detonate.
Yeah, it wasn't armed.
It wasn't armed. The other one went through, I forget how many stages that it has to go through to be armed, all the way up until the last one, and the last one didn't work just because of chance, and it didn't arm it, and it didn't blow up.
Holy shit.
So the idea that in 1961
we could potentially not be here right now.
part of our country would have just been gone. And
Like you and I
yeah.
wouldn't be here.
Oh yeah, my dad's from South Carolina. Like the
Well, my grandparents are from North Carolina.
there you go.
Yeah.
So
Or my grandma is.
and it was so far out from World War II, from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that these bombs were like, I forget the statistic. I'm going to say like 400 to 500 times more
Powerful than
those
Nagasaki and
bombs.
Hiroshima.
And no one, I mean, obviously a couple people, some people knew about it, but these documents were just declassified, and we found this out, that there was this giant,
That's fucking crazy.
like, just so close near miss to where we almost accidentally bombed our own country.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Like, it's so crazy to me, even though I understand it has to be armed.
Yeah.
The idea that anything can fall from 30,000 feet
and not
not
blow
explode.
up. Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh, it fell out, so I guess I misunderstood history because North Carolina's not there anymore. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that it doesn't. It does, but
What if we've all just agreed that North Carolina exists?
people are like, please help us.
It's really there. Don't worry.
You guys are fine, right?
Everything's okay.
Yeah, I thought that was really crazy.
That's fucked up, man.
The jerking off in Sweden in public thing, equally crazy, but in different ways.
The article I read that was crazy is the findings of I think it's the IPCC, this board that they do investigations into the environment and the state of the world, specifically like global warming. We're fucked. Message received. We are all fucked.
Sweet.
They were interviewing people who had written for the report, which apparently is like, I can't remember the number. It's like either 3 or 5 times as long as War and Peace. So clearly I'm never reading it.
Yeah, me neither.
But apparently the message is that the planet is in fact fucked. And it has become fucked quicker than we thought it was going to be. Sea levels are rising much faster than we prognosticated. Temperatures are rising just as much faster as the sea levels are rising. All of these like freak environmental storms and just awful things that are happening are in fact related to global warming, and it is all our fault. We are the reason that it's happening. And they were having the scientists write the headlines for the article that they were writing and trying to make people understand how serious it is. And one of the scientists said, you should title the article 5 minutes until midnight.
Oh, yeah, you told me this.
And I was like, oh my God.
Just name it Who Watches the Watchmen.
Well, no, like I was just like, I know that 5 minutes doesn't mean 5 years, which is probably like the very first thing your mind would assume, because people have talked about like doomsday clocks, and as far as where we are as a civilization within, if you take every single thing that has happened from known time until right now, we're not even a year. We're not even past a year. We're coming up to what would be December of 1 year within the life system of Earth and the solar system. And that goes all the way back to like dinosaurs.
So how many years do we have of those years, of space years?
I don't know.
That's disaster movies. The idea of that kind of stuff, like the movie Knowing or like 2012.
Yeah.
That's a genre that I like watching those movies with Amanda, but I have a genuine, real, very bad fear.
I was thinking
when
about
I
it
watch those
today.
movies. They really scare me.
And I tweeted about it a little bit, just about like our cultural obsession with post-apocalyptic stories. And
I don't mean like Book of Eli. I mean like
no, but that's part of it, because Book of Eli is a very clear like nuclear wasteland storyline.
Yeah.
And whereas,
well, yeah. I mean that's the setting.
Yeah.
I mean ones that are like, here's our world dying.
no, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Like-
I put those along the same lines because it's not disaster porn, which is one of those phrases that people like to say a lot.
Yeah.
Where they just alter the word porn with whatever. But like, what is our obsession with those things? Like watching the world be destroyed, because it's a very real possibility that within like the next 20 years or whatever, we're going to be living a very hard life, because it's going to be harder to get food. We're not going to be able to grow food in a lot of places, or bees are going to fucking die, and all these fruits and vegetables aren't going to be pollinated, and we're fucked. Like, so why are we so culturally obsessed with experiencing those things through quote-unquote escapist media rather than solving those problems?
Well, I mean, I think you just answered your own question. I think it's escapism.
Well, yeah, but we're escaping into things that are
Yeah, but I mean, like
horrible.
like the general public.
Well,
it's definitely for them. It's not like entertainment for the scientists who are working on these.
No,
problems.
but I was going to ask this earlier when we were talking about Hornschmeier. Like, would you classify Life with Mr. Dangerous as escapism? Like, are you reading it to escape, or like to be entertained? I know it's a word we talk about a lot, or kind of often, about like, what does entertainment mean?
I was going to
Especially,
say the unfortunate thing is that at that point you have to define what entertainment.
well, yeah,
is.
like, are you reading it to have a good time?
Yeah.
Because
I would still argue yes, because I love his
Comics,
art, the medium, all that stuff. But I know what you mean, because I'm not reading Mesmo Delivery or watching The Raid. Like, that's a different kind of entertainment.
Yeah, those entertainments are different. Or like, which one of the? It's like the Lint Acme Novelty one.
Yeah,
Like
19.
Like,
or
are you
20.
like you're reading it to feel something? It's like The Road. I haven't read The Road.
Yeah.
I read Nick Hornby's review of The Road, and it was basically like, this is depressing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fucking dark, depressing,
He's right.
like awful story
Yeah,
that I liked. And like, why is that?
the movie's the same way too.
I kind of want to read the book. I just don't know.
Just watch the movie.
I like Cormac McCarthy way more than I ever thought I would, because that motherfucker doesn't like commas,
No, and The Road is way worse than his other books.
because their characters aren't even named.
They're not named, and this he doesn't really have any kind of. He places no importance on like sentences.
No, that's his style, man.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, like, even with I don't know. You'll have to read some of it and see.
Well, no,
You'll get a bit immediately.
I read the first page of All the Pretty Horses last night because I like to read either the first sentence or at least the first page of something to like try and get myself going when I'm trying to write. So I read the first page of that, and it literally is like, I know I've made this joke on the show before, but it seriously is him being like, he walked into the room, he took his boots off, he grabbed the candle, he blew the flame out, he touched the wax with his thumb. There's no pause.
Yeah.
And you have to supply it yourself.
You should read some of the book, and then once you're like, I don't know about this, then watch the movie.
Yeah.
The movie's good. You know who did the movie?
It's, I know Vigo's in it, but I can't remember who did it.
It's Nick Cave.
Oh, really?
Wrote it, and then John Hillcoat directed it. It's
Oh,
the
shit.
same writer-director of The Proposition.
That movie's good.
It's not as good as The Proposition, but it's still really good.
Well, The Proposition's really good.
I know. It's so good.
I'm going to watch a Book of Eli tonight, maybe.
I have to tell you something else that's not related to this.
I love the apocalypse.
Have you heard about Kevin Smith's stuff that he's doing right now,
No, but maybe.
film-wise?
No.
Okay, so...
Didn't he quit for the 90,000th time?
Kind of. So he... Well, first of all, he's doing Hit Somebody as a miniseries,
I knew that.
which that is definitely happening. I don't know if it's already filming or what.
He's doing it with that kid from Red State and Sky High and
Maybe. That stuff has changed so much, so I don't know. And then Clerks 3. So Clerks 3 is completely written and done. Last I heard, Miramax was still going to do it, but
filmed.
no.
Oh, it's just written.
Written.
Okay.
They're going to start filming it in like March of next year. So this is so interesting to me. On Smodcast, so like episode like 265 or something.
Yeah.
They do these on Smodcast. It's basically Kevin Smith just being super blazed out of his mind.
Yeah.
And then him talking to
Reedy.
Scott Mosier and them just laughing and joking and non sequiturs galore.
Yeah.
And every once in a while he'll like bring in a news story and they'll talk about the news story. So that's how I heard about the jerking off in public thing and also the bump.
Yeah.
So he had this story that he brought in, which is a pretty insane and pretty hilarious story. It's just true about it's not called Gumroad because Gumroad's the site that
You can put your own stuff on and sell it.
it's like Gumtown, I think, or something, where it's basically like a classifieds type site. So in Britain, there had this dude who put up lodging at his place, and the rent was free. It was free to live there, but there were certain conditions. So he talks about how he lived on St. Peter's Island or St. something Island? I forget. St. Lawrence, I think. And he was completely alone. He wasn't around anybody at all. But he made friends with and was a very close, constant companion to a walrus who he named Gregory. So the relationship that he has with Gregory, he said, far outweighed any close relationship that he had, man or human, in his past. And when he had to leave the island after living there for however many years, it was one of the saddest things for him ever because he wasn't around Gregory anymore. So the conditions of living there rent-free were that I think it's once a week. It's either once a day or once a week. I'm pretty sure it's once a week. He constructed a wall.
No fucking way.
Constructed Gumtree. He constructed, because he's a carpenter, a walrus costume that you as the rentee,
the leasee,
would wear and for 2 hours in a week and pretend to be a walrus so he could have this companion to be like his friend. And it had
Would he have sex with a walrus?
Although your head immediately is like, oh, so you're going to go there to get killed.
You're going to get fucked as a walrus.
No, he wouldn't have sex with the walrus, but he would treat it as walrus. And it's very serious in the ad. Kevin Smith reads the ad, and it seriously is like, you will not speak. You will only make walrus noises, basically. And even in the ad, it's like, I believe there are recordings of this on the internet. You can look it up. And he would feed you fish and crabs.
Oh, my God.
And you had to be this walrus. And then basically you got full run of the house other than his workshop and his room.
Yeah.
Because that's probably where the bodies were kept.
Probably.
And that was basically it. And then he updated it later and said that the vacancy had been filled and stuff.
Wow.
Someone did it. So they are joking and laughing and cracking up about this movie. The story's not over. About
a movie.
Or about the story.
Yeah.
About how, like, and then, like, talking about it like a movie to where it's like, you know, the guy
Then
wakes
this
up
happens.
and then, doing that thing.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith at one point is like, because he had Scott Derrickson on the podcast who did the Exorcism of Emily Rose, and then Sinister, who that dude has done pictures with Blumhouse, Stephen Blum, who's the guy who makes these horror movies for like $2 to $3 million, and then they make crazy bank. Yeah. He did The Purge and the Paranormal Activity movies and Sinister and Insidious, those things. And he was like, dude, I guarantee you we could get Stephen Blum to do this for like $2 million. Like, we can make this movie. I'm just going to call him blah, blah, blah. Yes, Kevin Smith is filming a movie that he wrote and is directing called Tusk.
Holy shit.
That Stephen Blum is backing. Justin Long is playing the dude in the walrus suit, and Michael Parks is the crazy dude.
Holy shit.
And he got the guy who created the makeup effects for like Night of the Living Dead, or like Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, I was going to say, Greg Nicotero?
No, he tried to get Nicotero at first, but he's on Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And he wrote it while he was waiting on stuff to happen with Clerks. It's just this like quick, like it's like, I think it's like 80 pages. This like horror movie about this guy, and in the movie that they were talking about, he like fuses the guy to the costume. He said it's like a cuddlier Human Centipede like type, just like crazy movie. But it all started from them talking on a podcast, and then he started making calls. He originally wrote the part. There's a detective in the movie who's like trying to figure out what's going on. He wrote that for Quentin Tarantino.
Oh.
And he gave it to Tarantino, and Tarantino said, I love it, but I don't want to act anymore. That's why I haven't been in any movies, so I'm not going to do it, but I love the script or whatever. So he sent it to Justin Long, and Justin Long was like, man, this is so ridiculous. So let's try it. Michael Parks is in. So
I love Justin Long.
It's so crazy, man. Like, that they just did this podcast.
I like stuff like that.
Me too.
That's a cool idea.
I'm pretty scared because it'll probably suck, but at least like you'll be able to watch it when you hear him talk about it. Because when I first heard about it, it was in passing on another podcast where he was like, yeah, I'm making this like walrus movie called Tusk. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then hearing him talk about it, I was like, he's gone nuts. Like he made Red State, and now he thinks he just makes horror movies. But then when you hear him talk on the podcast and how much they're laughing and having fun with it. And like,
well, Red State wasn't terrible, but I also didn't like it.
It's not terrible, but it is. That one seemed much more like I'm going to make a serious horror movie. This one seems more like I'm going to make a horror movie, but one of those like really disturbing, like Human Centipede, where it's like, oh, they're sewing mouths to buttholes. That's horrifying, but also it's kind of funny.
That's gross and really neat.
So I thought that was insane, man.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts.
And that they went to. He said they went to Stephen Blum, took them to like their studios, and they were gutting out a room, and it looked like the set that he had written in his script. So they're just gonna like film it in that room and stuff. So
well, I guess you and I are writing a script about a guy who has thumbs on his
noses.
Damn it! Twice.
Have you ever been alone in the woods and you needed a hatchet, but also you kind of wanted to read Action Comics?
Yes.
That's happened to me. Only it was kind of a similar situation. I was in the desert and I needed Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes.
Luckily, DCBS was there for me. Discount Comic Book Service. You can find them on dcbservice.com.
Yes.
Online, they will throw out parachutes of supplies and comics, little like parcels, like in Lost, where they drop food.
Yes.
Onto the island. Is that your line?
No.
Okay. And get you with your comic book fixins.
They will.
DCBservice.com. You can get so much awesome stuff on there for discounted prices.
A lot of really good prices.
Anything you can think of. If you want to buy that gross Catwoman issue, they got it.
That is there.
If you want to read it, they're going to charge you for it, but they'll charge you like half off for it.
They will give you a really good deal on it. You can also follow them on Twitter.
DCB Service, yeah.
DCB Service is their Twitter handle.
If you're in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, stop by their store. We've already told some hilarious stories about stopping in there. Like they'll punch you if you want them to.
We've said a lot of really funny
high
things.
five. Seriously, if you go in there, we'll play it straight this time. They'll have a conversation with you and talk to you.
They'll talk to you. They'll be nice. They'll sell you some comics. And then right after you leave, you can go to the Chinese place that's next door.
Yeah, it's great food.
We almost always go there.
We always do.
Go to DCBS.
Go to DCBservice.com and get some comics.